New session, but a lot of the same headlines are going to remain on focus today. And by that, of course, I'm talking about a lot of these oil-related headlines. Let's start with the market, though. Nasdaq chopping higher and lower here, certainly within this pre-market range on that 8 a.m. print. Yesterday's support of that 586 level certainly coming into play. Let's take a look at the S&P 500, looking almost identical here, though this pre-market low for the SPY actually below yesterday's intraday low. So interesting look there for the SPY versus the Nasdaq. A lot of talk here still around oil. I'll pull up USO for you all. We know there's a lot of back and forth confusion as to whether or not Iran and the U.S. are in fact talking. Goldman Sachs has weighed in. As of yesterday, they saw about a 30% risk of a recession. They're also saying that there could actually be a higher inflation risk, of course, if oil continues to go higher. But oil is not the only thing in focus. We have tons of little smaller catalysts here, a lot in the cloud space and in tech. Good morning, Sharif. How are you doing today?
Derek, fantastic yourself. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. CoreWeave getting an upgrade today from B of A, likewise with Nebius. Also, Oracle pushing deeper into AI agents. We'll get into that. But as you mentioned, Adara, oil back in focus here with WTI trading back above 90. Brent still disconnected from WTI, trading about $102. A lot of volatility in these oil markets, Adara. Yesterday, there was a lot of ups and downs as we got more information from the Trump administration about what they plan to do with the ongoing escalations.
We know we heard about a potential April 9th conflict end date, which, of course, that corresponds with that day last year. We had the second best day in the Nasdaq in history after President Trump said that it's a good time to buy. Literally today, I saw a headline about how Iran's talking to the U.S., and that was in between headlines about how Iran's going to continue to escalate. So lots of confusion, lots of uncertainty. Definitely stick with us all day. Sean and Neil, how are you guys doing this morning?
Fantastic. Thank you, Adara. Yeah, it's great to have that energy first thing in the morning. So shout out to Adara there as well. Yeah, 71,000 for Bitcoin. So we're feeling pretty good about that one. We're feeling pretty good about everything right now. As Adara said, though, it's kind of like mixed headlines. ES right now down 0.1. Well, they're both down 0.1. So ES and Nasdaq both cruising around right now. And yeah, not really certain on what to do here today. This is the futures we had up. And then oil, we can look at USO or we can look at USK over here. Light sweet crude oil just breaching $90 here this morning. Nice move down into 88 yesterday. Came up, nice move, up 3.5%. Looks like oil long. I think will be where I'm looking today, would be oil into the long side of things. So that'd be USO on my mind. One more time here today, but up to 113. So yeah, other than that, man, it's like not too many individual stock stories. You mentioned Oracle. There's a little CoreWeave news here as well. But other than that, man, people want us to talk about Anna over there.
Anna, UGRO.
Yeah, is Anna still going? Oh yeah, still still under a million shares, but looks like it's trying to go a little bit here to the upside, 14.5% again today for Anna. But yeah, I got the coffee going on here. Not much. I mean, for now,
gotta have it to spice it up.
We'll just wait.
It's not a lot. There's not a lot of crazy headlines this morning. Like you get a few here or there. Like Lauder's randomly up because they did a buyback or authorized a buyback, and there's some small cappers like you mentioned there with Anna and UGRO that are moving around. So there's gonna be places to play, but you don't forget a few things. Remember yesterday, it took a while, but you know, at the end of the day, there was a few things that really, really emerged as strong. Palantir was one of them. Late day break, and this was when the market was heading to the downside right at the end of the day. You had that nice push through the highs, kind of counter trend to the overall markets. It's a little flat today, but just because it's not gapping doesn't mean it's not a mover. Palantir should be on the radar. Yes, it's at a resistance spot, so you know, could expect it to do a little bit of a dip and rip potentially, but I do like that one in Palantir. And I see Starchick Ichnik in the chat saying it's eerily quiet or slow. Look, when I sat down, I saw like pre-market volumes because yesterday was so insane because at 7 o'clock we had that post from the president. This was much lower volume. So I think this is going to require a little bit more patience, but also not forgetting what was in play and moving yesterday. Because if there's not a bunch of new catalysts, and of course we'll get into upgrades and downgrades, and some of the catalysts that are there are plenty. There are a bunch of things that moved a lot yesterday that we should be paying attention to. Palantir is an example. Some of the travel names can be an example of that. Like you had I always go to CCL, but that's one of the, that's just the first place my mind goes to when we talk about the cruise lines. Like this was a huge mover yesterday, moving almost 10% from bottom to top. So while it's flat today, it doesn't mean it's not going to be very much in play. So there are going to be a lot of things to be able to watch today. Just keep in mind, don't throw out some of the lists that you would have made the prior day, and make sure that you're trading what is actually moving and giving you some extra volume, because that's going to be key. You want to make sure there's actual volume out there for you to dig yourself into. And I got to say it, we are now 1 day away from opening day. I'll take it, opening day baseball.
Yeah, Wednesday.
It's a weird game, though.
Is it? What is it?
It's the Yankees in San Francisco, which is, I mean, A, interleague, B, it's like they're not, I guess technically they're kind of rivals.
Remember, they didn't even have interleague baseball so long ago. But it's interesting. It's an opening game. I guess 2 decent markets, maybe. I don't know. Like just get the fans excited again.
Is the Dodgers one available?
Yeah, well, the Dodgers. It's funny. Don't they normally? Do they know? I thought they always did like a out. Where'd you say this?
They opened in Japan last year.
Right. That's okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I don't think they are this year.
They always have
they
things
didn't do
like
the
that
Japan.
going on.
It was the WBC. That's why.
Yeah, the WBC. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think doing continuation plays like an Oracle or something like that makes a lot of sense there today. And just watching out. I mean, even yesterday we had a big move from Tesla right away, right off the jump. And I don't know if today it's not really like setting up to do too much, as Neil mentioned. There was something, I don't know what kind of news story hit here at 7:52. That's not even that long ago. This is, a big volume spike there to the downside on the Nasdaq. So we'll have to see maybe what that story was about 15 minutes ago or so. But anyways, yeah, so right now just trying to figure out what we're going to trade. But it's all good, man. We have the watch list here. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got Sharif's note. We've got Adara and Sharif back on the board. We've got Joe here this morning. So, yeah, everything's rocking and rolling. Brendan will be in just a little bit later. And, yeah, we're excited to start the day. I don't have too many names out. I just put something in the chat, and I'll put it again. Go let me know here on Twitter, and I'll see if we can review which I just put in the chat. Go let me know if there's any setups or anything that you guys want to look at. Hit the link there and let me know what you're talking about. I was thinking, honestly, iBit, some Palantir, probably some Nasdaq here. I think maybe lower today. I don't know. Like I said, this is a big move there and then followed up right now again. So it looks like we're trying to maybe get a little lower here today. But Robinhood at 70 was a great trade yesterday. I mean, so many things to be able to look at again today off key levels. I don't know if it's going to be a big volume day, but the markets will move as they do. So we'll ear to the ground, right? I mean, we've still got all this stuff going on. I mean, yesterday we had like an unofficial Twitter account tweet out that from Iran that there was no, talks like that. It's not even verified, that account.
No.
So who knows, man? This market just moves on anything apparently. So.
Speaking of moves, there's another small capper that just made a move, and I'll give you the headline for Feed. NView Medical expands presence with major Michigan health system and grows U.S. footprint. So this one is making a nice power move here, 28% to the upside for them. Like them. This one bounced off $1 for the second time here, so yeah, should be worth watching. There's a bunch of small cappers that are at least doing a little bit of volume. So Feed, we can add that to that UGRO as well. And just remember, like you want to find things with a catalyst, small cap, large cap, and if the energy names move and you're a small capper, and some of those, like the battles and the INDOs aren't really moving around all that much. Double check battle. That was a good trend yesterday. It was a good early trend, and then I had to slap this fail because when it finally broke that all day long downtrend, it was a great long right in here. So I had that on my mind that, especially with Boyle and Battle, sometimes just if you've been riding the trend, reverse it for the trend break. Because that ended up being in not 15 minutes, in about 20 minutes or so, it was as good of a long as it had been a short. Like it dropped from $11 to $10. Basically the duration of the day, and then you went from 10 back to $11 in 30 minutes. So like it trended short, but like the break was even better than that. So I'm gonna have that on the mind with both that and Boyle. So have your strategies out there, but know where you want to look. If you're a small cap trader, don't lose sight necessarily of some of the energy related ones. If we're expecting headlines throughout the day, and I'm not saying we're gonna get some kind of crazy headline, but I think if you better be expecting it, because at least then you'll be ready to pounce. Like you'll have what you want to express to trade, whether it's USO, whether it's it could be like Oxy. I'm just throwing some names out there, but you got a chart up, you've got a level 2 up. You're ready to act if there is some kind of a major shock. You want to be prepared for it. And if you trade these small cappers, these particular ones tend to follow the energy markets for obvious reasons. I know you like some of those, Sharif.
Love them, Neil. They're looking really good here. PAVS as well, Neil, up about 80%. Raya, like the Arsenal goalkeeper who should have been playing in the championship game, sorry. Trying to take out that buck. UGRO, which is the #2 voted stock here at Dara. That's also running, but we're talking a little Amazon.
Yeah, let's talk AMZN. Before we get to that, I do want to mention this story here on Uber, seeing reports that Uber is planning on buying Blacklane, which is a German company, and they're kind of like a high-end version of Uber. So not much of a move here, but just be aware, potential acquisition catalyst for UBER. But Amazon here, specifically AWS, unfortunately facing more outages in the Middle East as this conflict continues.
Sadly, Adara, this is the second AWS-related disruption in the span of a month. They're actively migrating affected customers to alternate regions. The great thing about these hyperscalers is they lay down a lot of deep-sea cables for redundancy purposes. Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all laying down these deep-sea cables over the past few years and investing billions in it, and now it's coming to pay out here. Many customers, they've been successfully shifted, Adara, into a different zone on AWS. Amazon didn't disclose the full extent or damage or the expected recovery timeline, but it's widely speculated it was another drone attack.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, more of these Middle East concerns and potentially more headlines here for Amazon. I do want to mention, before we send you back to the guys here to look at AMZN, I want to mention UAL as well, seeing a couple different headlines from United Airlines. They're going to be taking, or they expect to take delivery of more than 250 new airplanes by April 2028. Apparently, that would be the most in a 2-year span for any airline ever. Furthermore, they do expect to have Starlink Wi-Fi aboard all of their United dual cabin planes by 2027, or the end of 2027, rather, a headline that I'm sure Sharif is excited about. UAL, Uber, and or Amazon, guys. Lots of headlines here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely like what we're seeing in Uber, at least for when the chart comes back in. I think you look at the airlines and the recovery that's happening in some of the travel space, that could be a little bit more headline driven. I just feel like Uber has a chance to do something on its own that might not matter. And unfortunately, we ended last week with this chance that this was going to pop, break out the 50-period moving average. It's still very, very close to doing so. But that's the idea with patience here for Uber. Very, very clean downward trend off the 50 SMA, which is the teal line that you'll be able to see here. But you feel like it's got this buy support on it. Like from this little bit of low, it's just continually putting in higher lows. It did another one yesterday, hold at that level. I think we can break that 50 period. It looks like it's going to happen pretty soon, and I think it's going to shoot from there. So this is definitely, it's not necessarily today that I think it's going to take out that top. It's possible, but we just kind of dropped about a 50, 60 cents here. I'm not sure you take it. It's about 26 and change. I don't know if you get that one maybe tomorrow or later in the week kind of play. But we ended the week looking for that little bit of a swing entry on Uber. I think it can still happen. It's just a matter of waiting for it to break this trend. The longer a trend holds, the better it is when it breaks, in my opinion. So you can afford to be patient with Uber, like the deals that they've been trying to make. Like it's about being the platform and not necessarily having to spend oodles and oodles of money to capture. It's almost like it's weird. Like it's kind of the Apple way, if you really think about it, to a certain extent. Like if you want to enter a market with autonomous, well, Uber's already got users, and Uber's already has the platform. It's easier to partner with them, and then it's like a mutual benefit that I think can work.
Funny about how far down these stocks are. Like this was $100 down to $75 Uber. Like, oh man. Stocks be down that 20-25% on Uber right now. Might be worth picking some up for sure, I would think. I like Uber, and it's a holding of mine too. So, yeah, I mean, a stock down 25% is not Amazon right now. Although, what is the high from here? Whoops, that's not the high. That's how much I know the platform. All right, let's just try to see this top to bottom there. That shows 11%. Okay. But anyways, okay, let's, I don't even know if that's right either. All right, so just really quickly, I just wanted to say about Amazon here, just before we lose our way here, it's not doing anything. Like Amazon is just giving false breakouts all over the place. So like, you know, you thought you were gonna break out there. There was 2 days, maybe back up to the 50-period moving average. Either way, though, it just keeps on getting hit down. I mean, I don't know what we expect with the Nasdaq right now, you know, down that 7% or something from its highs, as well as the S&P 500 a little bit better on the S&P than the Nasdaq. But yeah, it's just kind of just doing nothing. And we said that the same thing with, you know, NVIDIA has been sort of doing nothing all the way back. But look at Amazon. If you sort of extend this Amazon chart out a bit as well, you're all the way back to sort of, and if you just go where we are here, sure, we've had peaks and valleys and ups and downs and all that kind of stuff, just like the market does, right? But there it is right here. This sort of middling line goes all the way back to November of 24. You could have got Amazon at this price, not paying a dividend and not really doing a whole heck of a lot. You know, you're selling the top at 240 and buying the bottom at 170. You know, that's kind of been the play there. Just hit the tops and there hasn't really been a bottom. So yeah, it looks like we want to hold 200. I mean, this is where I think I would like to buy some Amazon the next time it's in and around here. And I don't like the story about the drone strikes, obviously, but it's not really affecting the stock here at all. So for me on Amazon today, I'm sort of already thinking short just because of the way this is kind of looking right here on the Nasdaq right now. So if anything, we're starting to make these highs are getting a little lower as we go into the open. So for me, I think Amazon would still be a short today. There's not really a story that lets me believe that it's not a short. So I'm going to, you know, consider that a 211 to 212 or so short area until we hear more about those drone strikes and what exactly it's affecting the market here. So yeah, I like all that. I prefer Uber, much prefer Uber right now than to Amazon. So that's, Neil already covered that one. And I think they're two interesting stories and both not really giving any movement to the market. Really. Like this has done 17,000 shares.
The volumes this morning.
So far today. It's like
There was, when I sat down, NVIDIA was like 180,000. When I opened
I
my
haven't even looked at the NVIDIA chart
it's
yet.
usually like, by that time of the day, it's like 1 million shares,
lower.
I feel like, when I'm looking at it. It was just, it's bizarre how
well, see, now we got some sort of a dark print, and now it's saying 1.2
Yeah,
million.
the problem is when the dark pools start to come in, it really, you know, messes
Yeah, but
up.
still, yeah, you're right. Like, there's not too much printing going on here, 50 shares, 100 shares.
It's a lot of the stock, like
yeah.
Tesla too.
And then, you know, starting to go a little lower here. I don't know, yeah, the market's just waiting for some of these stories.
You know what we're waiting for?
Yeah, well, are we?
We're waiting for some Joey options.
Oh, there we go, Joey options. Okay, let's go see.
All right, everyone. How's everyone doing? All right, guys, let's get right into the options world here and see what we got going on from some of the activity on yesterday's session. Both of these that we're going to be going over here today are going to be expiring this Friday. Now, I like using our comparison, and I mean, we did have triple witching last Friday. So you did see an outstanding amount of contracts and volume, and that's not necessarily the case right now. The market does look a bit fishy here. I mean, NVDA, as the gentlemen were just talking about, I know we have USO up here, but it's heading towards some key support levels. Let's see how we react, but we don't see any substantial size northbound. We do have the 50,000 here, 40,000 here, but I believe that's absorbable if you get a little bit of bullish momentum. Aside from that, guys, let's take a look at what we have going on USO. A lot of people here on the floor involved with this name, including Sean and Obi yesterday, so congratulations to both of them. We're going to take a look at that $125 mark here, guys. Open interest. Expiring this Friday once again with 5,020 contracts there, and then volume open and close we have 1,560, and you can see the spread on this. This is $30, right? It's really expensive to get involved. That will tighten up a little bit after the open, but relatively speaking, it's liquidity issues, okay? Delta, you're sitting at that 18 metric, and then your gamma exposure relatively cool, considering it is an out-of-the-money contract. But look at the at-the-money IV, right? We've been going over this for the past couple of weeks. It is fluctuating. You do have those volatility spikes, but after that one event where it just went absolutely parabolic, it has cooled down drastically. We're talking 174% to 118%. And it's like, Joe, you talk about at the money IV and implied volatility. So what is it essentially saying? It's that how much the stock from its current price can fluctuate in either direction. Now, is it going to do that? Absolutely not. But it just shows you how much the volatility and how much it's drastically changed from its previous average true range, roughly. All right, if that makes sense. Now, moving forward, SMCI, volume sitting around 13,000 contracts. We're going to be looking at that $24 strike price. Yes, we have that DOJ probe into this name. Now, open interest sitting around 26,500. And you can see that it's only a dollar spread. The volume is there. But once again, this is an extremely out of the money contract. Why? How can we tell this, and how can I tell without even actually having to look at the price, even though we do understand and know where it's currently trading at? It's just from your delta metric, relatively cool, sitting around that 16. Your gamma sitting around $11 too, so not too bad, but you're still at that 1 decimal point. So it's a little bit higher than what we've seen there in USO and other names, but you're at the money IV, 101%. When you have that elevated implied volatility, it's definitely a writer's world.
Well, and SMCI is definitely, it's in its own world, it's in a world of its own, that's for sure. I don't think that necessarily stops today. I think the fun thing, well, I shouldn't say the fun thing with stock that got smoked on the news, and if you're just tuning in and you didn't see what happened to SMCI, then, well, chip smuggling, not a good thing. And you get a resignation from the board member that was involved, but nothing was directly tying it to SMCI. That said, it didn't really stop the stock from going down almost 30%, and then yesterday getting a nice little relief rally. It's not going to be SSR today, but I'm still thinking until you break out 23, so that would be the opening range high from the actual day of doom, the original day of doom, and it's going to be about $23. So it's been a quick short the open, and then one candle has been about $1. It did that yesterday, right off the open, and then ripped. It kind of did that and failed. So it wouldn't surprise me if you had another one of those like quick candles up, and I would look for the fade trade. And if we don't ever break 23, I even said it might not get there in the note. If it's just a failed break of the prior high, then I'd look for a continuation short that way too. So SMCI is still going to be very, very much in play today. Oh, and there's a note. I know Jeffrey's in the watch list because there was some speculation. I threw it in the chat, but SMFG has said they are not no immediate plan to acquire Jeffries. So just be careful. That was up on some buyout rumors and might be falling back a little bit.
Jeffrey's Jeffrey, the butler from Will Smith. What's that?
That's Jeffrey's. That's Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince.
That's Jeffrey moment. I know what mine is.
I don't know. I have no idea. I can't remember. I mean,
they made him think that he won the lottery one time.
Oh, did they? Oh,
and
man,
so when Will and Carlton, whatever, they show him the thing. He's got the ticket, and then he just starts running around the house, jumping around like, I quit.
Yeah, okay.
And he starts telling everybody off, like tell them what they really think.
I never watched the the reboot of Fresh Prince. That was probably pretty bad. Yeah, just to Joe's point over there when he was saying it's a writer's paradise here. In my life, it's always a gangster's paradise. But for NVIDIA, yeah, I mean, and just for a lot of these names today, I think if you were holding on to something in the options world, you got to wait for something to happen today. It's not much early. If anything, the Nasdaq is trying to get a little lower. Super chat, all right. What's the super chat up to over here?
What up?
You guys have any super chats, any messages? Let us know. We're live on TikTok right now, Instagram.
Yeah. The Grand Fam.
Okay, what's up?
67. Sean Neal, what's the primary strategy you rely on most often? The one that's your core go-to approach? Thanks, Wayne Griffin. Thanks, WG.
I was watching some, is it Family Guy, Wayne Griffin? I don't know, I was watching, Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin. Peter Griffin. Wayne.
I was watching some Family Guy the other day. Yeah, no, for me, I honestly think it's just, and I was writing this down about the TQs and everything like that. It's basically just trying to, hey, Randy, how's it going?
Oh, you can shave the head.
Thanks for the coffee, man. It was really great.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Do you have your banana yet?
Where's the banana? What happened to
Well,
bananas?
I had one from yesterday, so I just grabbed mine. Randy's asking us if we had our bananas yet.
What, you got no on your shirt? What kind of shirt you got on today? Oh, just a plain one, eh? Okay.
Oh, Randy's in long sleeves. Uh-oh.
What? Oh, come on, Randy. You've been minus 12. Yeah,
I've seen you in shorts when
I thought you were a real man. There he is. There, look, see, everyone's like, the chat's probably like, this man is wearing long sleeve shirt here today. Okay, there we go. There we go. Look at this man looking so sharp over there.
Let's throw that back up.
Yeah, they want to. Okay, so I was just gonna say for me on the TQs and stuff like that is just trying to wait to see, you know, if we can extend through. You know, supply and resistance areas. Like, so for example, like if I'm trying to go short today, I'm just trying to look at this 45 area, and that's actually what I wrote down already. You know, looking to see if we can get back into like prior days support and resistance levels. So even like right into here, like I'm looking to go short right now on the TQs. So I'm thinking up here in between 40, and you know, it's a science, right? Like it's when you're looking at levels, but then you got to add a little bit of an art aspect to it as well, and wait to see how the momentum is, and not every level is going to be exact. So just try to look at the upwards and lower and upward boundaries, and then try to match it up, right, with 50 period moving averages and 200 period moving averages and VWAP and stuff like that. And so like that's why right now when I'm looking at the Qs, like I'm not really seeing a whole lot here on the 1 minute chart, because the 200 period is kind of stuck in the middle. Like I'd rather it be up here somewhere and give me some sort of a backstop for that kind of resistance up near the top. So those are the kind of plays that I look for, you know, support and resistance, and then, you know, helped along with by some of these magical lines. And if you continue to watch the show, and if you go on my Twitter, you'll see all the different setups and everything like that I take every day, and you'll see that they do match with some of those magical little lines there on the screen. So I would say, like, you know, support and resistance near a VWAP is obviously you know, a key for me as well. So it's just support and resistance matched with some of these technical lines.
Yeah,
moving averages.
VWAP being one of them for me. Like I like if once I have a direction of trend, I think like using the volume weighted average price. Oftentimes, like Battle, for an example, if you're looking, because yesterday was kind of like a looking for shorts. I know I was on Boyle for most of the day, but also BATL. You're looking for shorts in some of the energy names. And once it failed and was underneath VWAP, it was a trend short. Now, obviously, I do tend to like trend breaks as well. So you get like an all-day trend and then take a little bit of a quick breakout trade on that trend. It works in both directions. Like there was a big trend up, didn't have it in Rivian. And then when this broke the trend, it was a short back into VWAP, actually would have gone a little bit further. I'd say those are the two places. Because I love when, if you already have a stock that's trending and then you can get, it just dips cleanly into the volume weighted average price. Palantir's not the best example of it, but you know, it is what it is. Like I can tell you at Palantir, like that would be a good setup. You get a bull flag, a dip into the volume weighted average price here in the middle of the day, and then try to go. So that's another one of the ones that I certainly like. Appreciate that super chat. Keep them coming. And in addition to you know, asking solid questions or just conversing, make sure you let us know. And I'm trying to find it. Where's my visualize? Uh-oh, I lost my visualize. I'll have to reopen it. Make sure you're typing $TripQ or everyone out there, so that when you type symbols into our chat, we get a chance to be able to know what are the top ones, right? Mm-hmm. So I can see UGRO and Feed and BE. Bloom Energy is going to be up there. We haven't talked about that one in quite a while. What's Bloom doing today? Exactly flat. It's not going Bloom. Ooh, yesterday was a bad day for Bloom. It makes sense. Energy names were rather down. Ooh, Bloom could be coming into some support, but you got to watch out. Again, with all these headlines, this will be a name that falls into that category of any given headline overseas, and you can flip on an absolute dime. But keep those symbols coming, keep those questions coming. We got some numbers in about 1 minute, so we'll go back to the desk.
Yeah, I do want to prepare us for some numbers. There is a bit of a story in Palantir, which we'll talk about in a second, but I want to get to these numbers here first. In 52 seconds, we're going to be getting labor costs and productivity revisions, none of which are going to be massive, but might as well cover them here for you guys. We did get at 8:15 a.m. the weekly employment change number, so not the monthly employment change print, which I feel like we tend to get on a Wednesday, but just this weekly print. 10K here was the actual number, 10,000 versus the prior print of 9,000, so not too different from what we were expecting. Labor costs revised to your forecast 3.6%, prior 2.8%. So it looks like we're expecting an upward revision here. Productivity revision looks like we're expecting downward. 1.8% is the forecast here. 2.8% was the previous. And we do have some economic data coming later today as well. So with me in just over an hour at 9:45, we're going to be getting the S&P Manufacturing, Composite, and Services PMI, followed at 10 a.m. by the less closely watched Richmond Fed Composite Index. In 1 second now, those labor and productivity cost revisions, 4.4%, guys, higher than expected for the labor cost revision print. Productivity revision in line, 1.8% versus 1.8% expected. I want to talk here about Microsoft with Sharif in a second. I want to mention Palantir, though, PLTR, and good timing. I know that Neil just mentioned this as well, but I know this is one that we were getting some votes on in our chat. The Guardian reporting that Palantir has received a 3-month contract in the UK, specifically from their Financial Conduct Authority, or FCA, to analyze sensitive internal data to help combat some financial crime. In the meantime, though, I do want to discuss MSFT. MSFT, one of the many cloud and tech companies that got a nice little note from B of A, but they have another catalyst as well involving OpenAI.
They do, and it's really interesting, Adira, but that Palantir headline is also quite interesting. This is kind of one of the first other sovereigns we've seen Palantir do business with other than the United States, which is really, really interesting. We've always been talking about their government contracts, you know, kind of superseding the commercial ones, but nice to see they're diversifying with the sovereigns. Microsoft is a really interesting story here. So kind of the on again, off again sort of relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI. OpenAI warning investors today that its relationship with Microsoft's quote, represents a material business risk. They're currently they're providing significant portion of OpenAI's funding, and they continue to offer them compute infrastructure. But the deal is here that they're looking at each other now increasingly as competitors. Microsoft's already listed OpenAI as a direct competitor, and OpenAI is also diversifying cloud providers. We know they've struck deals with Oracle, Adira, as well as Google, and the latest one here with Amazon, all with a view, of course, for that late or that IPO that we've been talking more and more about, now slated to be in the region of $730 billion. That's where the current valuation of OpenAI sits. But this is going to be an interesting off again, on again relationship between the two companies.
More friction between OpenAI and MSFT. Does this help or hurt their IPO chances, guys?
Well, look, the IPO is happening, and ultimately you just wonder, are they going to be able to get this one out fast enough for OpenAI? Ooh, thank you, Randy. Appreciate you for sure. Thanks to Randy. But the other side is like like Microsoft specifically has got their own issues, man. Like it's. Azure's been great, but then on the back end, you've got these issues with Copilot that no one seems to want to use, or that they put a bunch of money into getting this built for this new AI world, and Copilot has been faltering. They've tried to shuffle it up and make some changes, but then I was hearing an analyst say something that made a lot of sense that I had never even thought about with regards to Microsoft. So even if it's like a double-edged sword. If you have a great pickup in Copilot, it turns into the next big thing, then all of a sudden a bunch of Azure capacity will be used supporting it. And so they need to have even more CapEx spend for that growth. So it's like a kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like they need a bunch of extra capacity if they get Copilot off the ground, but then they're getting beat down because they're not getting Copilot off the ground. And all of it lines up to, well, if you're looking for a cloud name, why not Alphabet? Like what's the reason, like what's the compelling reason that you're getting for Microsoft over Alphabet? I mean, the Microsoft forward P is like 20, and what are we sitting at right now for Alphabet? Because I haven't checked it in a couple of minutes. Not a couple of minutes, I haven't checked it in a little bit. Where are we? Yeah, we're about 26. So Google's still a little bit more expensive. I think that's the argument. Like you're basically just, okay, well, Microsoft's cheaper, so there's that. For now, and I'm saying for now because we haven't broken the support at 375. For now, we're holding on pretty keenly. But you're doing some things on soft you haven't seen in a while. On a weekly chart, not the 50, the 200 period, on a weekly chart is under threat in Microsoft. Like if it can't bounce here, like it gets kind of tough. And I have some really, really old levels on this e-signal chart that I think if you lose that, like the 340, it just becomes, if you get into the teens and it's down at 340, it's kind of like one of those, you're buying down there because the levels are just getting a bit too big. But if it doesn't bounce here, this is a pretty key level here for Microsoft. I don't know if it's getting any upgrades anytime soon, but we can find out who might be with Joe.
All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some price targets being lowered. And we're going to have that across the board here. We're going to start it off with Carnival Cruise Lines getting its price target lowered from $40 to $30. You're down 1% here this morning, roughly. And we have Gemini Space Station once again almost getting it cut in half, a little bit more, guys. $26 to $12 by Mizuho. You're down a little bit less than 1/5%. Now, Lululemon also getting its price target slash, guys, from $210 with a neutral weight rating from $210 to $185 by Citibank. And then we have Nike also getting its price target slash from $67 to $54. You're down about 1/5%. That price target reduction is by Deutsche Bank. Now, moving forward, CoreWeave, we've been talking about some of these cloud providers here, guys. CoreWeave going from a neutral to a buy with a price target of $100 by B of A. And then we have Ralph Lauren going into the retail space. We see Nike on the downgrade side, and we've seen Lululemon. Now we're going to take a look at Ralph Lauren. It is going to be a buy rating with a price target increase from $360 to $400. You're up 1 3/4 here this morning. Now Dell Technologies also getting the nod, guys, with a buy rating increase in price target $155 to $172. You're down 1/4% here this morning. Now, last but not least, SanDisk, the also popular name, B of A, giving them the nod, guys, with holding a buy rating. $900 is going to be that price target being lifted from $850.
I was going to look at Lululemon here. I mean, I think that was a good downgrade. I mean, they've been, definitely struggling right here, but at the same time, trying to hold on to this 155 area, right? I mean, 160. We just got that downgrade. The price target was actually 185, so I'm not sure where they were last, but up to 185 would be pretty sweet. Taking out that 200 period moving average at 190 would be where it's at. But yeah, Lululemon again, as they work through some of the inventory issues that they have over there at Lulu and trying to get new product lines and whatnot out. We know that the gym apparel industry and sort of athleisure has been, hit for a while there, and always new competition coming in. And you could see Lululemon, although, a great Canadian company, does not seem to be holding its own right now in the space and looking to get a lot lower. And then another name was, kind of coinciding with it. And again, it's just that whole retail, like deciding, do you want to put out a lot of stores? Do you want to do direct to consumer? Nike just continues to struggle with that question. I thought with Dick's Sporting Goods and whatnot coming through and purchasing Foot Locker, that was going to possibly help out Nike a little bit there with Dick's stores, taking over all the inventory, putting them in front of people, and getting more prime locations possibly than Foot Lockers and whatnot. But that does not seem to have been the case at all. So all of these names look like they are very, very much getting lower here. So yeah, it's not going to be a good day for a lot of these sort of athleisure, and not just a good day. It doesn't seem like it's a space that you want to be invested in right now, the retail side of the business there. Tesla and something in SpaceX coming together on something, but nothing going on there to build some chips, but nothing going on there with Tesla. So, okay, yeah, interesting morning so far with the market being pretty slow here. Not much going on, but we do have stories. We do have our watch list. Lots of stuff to talk about here today. SMCI, so you got Dell up there. We've got IBIT, 71,000 right now for crypto. But yeah, so far so good. Let's go back over the desk and find out what they want to talk about.
Yeah, with regards to this headline with Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX, it's just the same one we heard yesterday with Tesla and SpaceX jointly building that advanced chip manufacturing plant. This is being reported by, looks like, mostly Fox as of right now, so Fox Business. I want to mention as well, this headline came out a little while ago, about 10 minutes ago, but USO is going to be in watch. It's not really moving in response to this, but Tasnim in Iran reporting that a Thai ship has passed through the Strait of Hormuz. So again, according to Iran, take it as you will, but they are saying that there has been a ship specifically from Thailand which has passed through the Strait of Hormuz. One name that did move in reaction to these oil names, or rather with the market after these oil names yesterday, at least initially, was crypto. Ethereum and Bitcoin both closing more than 4% higher yesterday, Sharif.
Yeah, Dara, but like I feel like it's been trading in a bit of a tight consolidation range, 68,000 to the low side, 72-ish to the high side. That $70,000 level, though, is kind of acting as a key point, a key pivot point, I should call it. Strong support, guys, on the technicals here. 68 to 70, demands repeatedly held at that level. Resistance at around 74 to 75. That's a prior breakout attempt. Several prior breakout attempts there have failed. It's kind of the sideways movement is really being driven by the macro uncertainty. We're talking geopolitical tensions, interest rates, inflation expectations that are rearing their ugly head again. Central bank policy does remain a key variable, though, influencing crypto news. If we're going to get rate hikes, one must wonder whether this risk asset's going to be loved by the market, with a previous forecast of rate cuts. So growing discussion around Bitcoin as a reserve asset as well has been boosting long-term credibility. We've been seeing the influx out of gold and silver and some of the metals, and Bitcoin's been holding up relatively well.
You guys break that range to the upside or to the low side first?
If, to be honest, like today I'd be betting that we don't break it. That's my first thought is that we're not going to break the range. When you look at I don't want the monthly. I wanted a daily chart there. That's extreme. No, when you look at the daily chart, it's still suggesting, at least to me, that the bottom side of the range likely gets tested. There we go. I just want you to be able to see the last time we did something like this, there was our dip from the high, and then we trended up, and then we kind of lost a bit. So we're seeing the same thing. Like in a downward pattern, we're getting this kind of flag, bear flag, and then last time we resolved lower. So like that's what the overall pattern's sort of saying here on Bitcoin, and unless something drastically changes, I wouldn't get too far away from it. But when you're looking short term here, like we held the 70 pretty cleanly, and if you look the last 3 days, 70,000, or trading sessions, I should say, last 3 trading sessions, that 70K has been a good level. Whether you were playing it short in consolidation underneath, or short consolidation underneath, or yesterday ended up being a bit of a support level for a couple of longs, I think we have a chance to maybe retest that. If we bounce again and find some support down there right at the 70, it gives you a nice bounce spot, maybe some mean reversion, support and resistance trading, or in this case, it would be support trading over there for Bitcoin. And then, of course, I mean, remember, if you're looking at ETH or any of the crypto treasury names, sometimes you'll get a little bit more bang out of your buck observing that same bounce and then looking at maybe like a BMNR, or I hesitate with the MSTR just because I find sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. I feel like right now BMNR looks a little bit better to the upside when crypto's bouncing than MSTR is, but you can look at sort of similar support and resistance ideas. Like look at MSTR. For the last 3 days, that's basically the same low, 134.5. So that 70,000 level is giving you a good anchor to be able to trade off of. I'm not sure we break away from it today. Can't see what the reason is, but it gives you something to trade off of at least.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're looking at some BMNR. I mean, this ETHA, just with Ethereum over here, the iShares, right? You want to trade iBits, ETHA, just looking for some volume going through here. And it's funny because the market's down today pretty good and starting to go this way, while Ethereum's kind of holding up right now and not moving at all. So interesting for me here to have a quick look at this one. I mean, if we're going to look for some sort of strength today, although obviously Neil just looked at Bitcoin as well, that's been holding up, but so has ETHA. And I mean, I was just thinking like upside play there. Ooh, thank you, Rob. Okay, I guess I'm going short now. Rob's brought me the get your claws out cup right there. But yeah, just down into here, like what about a 16? $15.80 into $16. Thank you, Rob. In and around this area looks to be a decent dip buy zone. So, in a name that looks pretty strong here today, Ethereum, could be bought up in and around this $15.90 to $16 mark. So that's something to look at for me today on any sort of weakness in the market where we get a pull back down, right? And you can see the Nasdaq, as we had said sort of earlier, starting to bleed lower. I mean, it was just, I remember I was going, high, new lower high, there. We just put another one in, and it looks like we're struggling again to get down to the, back into the downside there. So it looks like we are going a little lower. I like Ethereum and IBIT both today. And I think I like them for the strength rather than the weakness. So I'd like to see the market turn around a little bit before we get going on these two names. But I don't think there's anything wrong with sitting around at 16 and waiting for that. Potentially that comes in. So let's keep Ethereum on our watch here today. I'm going to get the sticky note out very, very soon. And Ethereum may be on that. I like that level around that $16 mark. So I don't know, Sharif, you like Ethereum or Bitcoin at these levels?
I feel like Ethereum may have more beta, but when you're looking for long term, I think I'd definitely put my money behind Bitcoin. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I've said for a while that I think they're kind of at similar technical levels. I think Ethereum may be a little bit stronger than Bitcoin, at least like when it comes to being above that 2,200 level versus Bitcoin, as you said, Sharif, very much in that 4,000 point range, more or less. So we're gonna have to wait and see, but that's kind of my take on it from a technical standpoint. We have more stories to talk about. I really quickly want to mention, though, another story coming out of Iran, USO on watch. Noor News reporting that Iran has filed a new missile wave at Israel. So it looks like this conflict does unfortunately continue with the back and forth here in the Middle East. I want to mention here Broadcom and TSM. Interesting story on the watch this morning, also on Sharif's morning note. Looks like some supply constraints being brought up here by AVGO.
Yeah, this is more of like an AI chip issue rather than just a Broadcom issue, Adair, but Broadcom is the one sounding the alarm here. They warn that AI-driven demand is pushing the semiconductor supply chain to its limits. Specifically, Taiwan Semi now emerging as a critical bottleneck with production capacity nearing maximum utilization. In fact, Broadcom noted that TSMC's capacity is, surprise, surprise, no longer infinite. I don't know why it was considered infinite at any point, but I guess they had a lot of capacity. TSMC is expected to increase that capacity going into 2027. Current limitations, though, are projected to persist through at least the end of this year. The bottleneck is beginning, though, to show AI-related hardware scaling, and that is a bit of a problem. Shortages are expanding beyond just regular chips. We're talking about photonics and networking, as well as printed circuit boards, PCBs. So this is probably an industry-wide problem, Adair. We'll have to wait and see if anybody else complains about it.
So finite supply, guys. Who knew? What are your thoughts on TSM and AVGO or the AI chip space in general here?
That is an interesting one. Like anybody thought it was infinite? No, come on, man. The only thing infinite is the amount of love you get from your children and your family. That's the only thing that's infinite. What apparently is infinite is the sideways action on Broadcom. I feel like what is this, the chart of NVIDIA or something on the daily? Here, okay, fine. Sideways is better than down. You'll take sideways. We were just talking about Microsoft like 5-10 minutes ago. So, you'll definitely take this if the comparison is that you're going to be falling all over yourself. But at some point, this is going to resolve itself, and whether it's, and I'll make the comparison in case you haven't seen the NVIDIA chart in quite some time. Whether it's we can finally break out, which I tend to think if we're able to hold this malaise, the sideways action for the chip and the tech and the AI trade throughout this Iran conflict, and we don't break down in the midst of this, then I really like it for that next leg higher. But we're clearly not out of those waters yet in terms of geopolitical conflict and then that sentiment shift that could just simply drag things down in a general sense. We've seen that happen before. It doesn't seem like that's happening. If it does, watch out for Broadcom 300. Clearly, it's under both major moving averages, but the 300 would be the support level to watch here for Broadcom. It's just eerily similar. You pull this up, you pull NVIDIA's chart up, it's going to be eerily similar at this particular point. But I don't know, they're telling us something that we don't know, that you don't have infinite. I just get that's so ridiculous to say anything is going to be infinite. But ultimately, they do have an absolute sort of a stranglehold here. But that's the thing is, like, when you're Broadcom, when you're NVIDIA, when you're TSM, you take the good with the bad, because you cannot get away from the sentiment shift, and it's completely impossible. And right now, that sentiment is completely sideways.
We, right here, I asked what's going on in the pre-market this far. Any ideas everyone's looking at here? Referee Ronnie. Smithfield Foods, that's a good one right now. Smithfield Foods up about $1 there on earnings, so that's going to be a good look there as well. Dane goes Palantir, ARM, and ONDS. What's up to MF Dane Generous in the chat as well? I said, yeah, Palantir, I'm with you. I just put out the sticky note. Palantir's on there right now. Carlo likes MSTR. We just talked a little bit about Bitcoin there as well. Used Gum, yeah, one of your Canadian companies, HGRAF, drone company there as well as Sidhu wants to look over there. Batter says, oh, there we go, just on topic there, SNDK. And, oh, here we go. Here's my Tradru to Sean Signal advisor. Okay, I have to see what's going on with Krish Genesis Signals. And then here's my trading plan that's going to get blocked as well. So please don't follow any of these randos in there. But there's some ideas right there. I'll put this in the chat here, and we can see if you guys can give me some help on what ideas we're looking for there today. The sticky note is now out. It's 8:50. Lots of stuff happening. Still looking at, still not looking at this Ethereum. Was looking at Tesla on the big screen here to see if there was any movement happening with Tesla as the market continues to go lower as well. I don't think that today is going to be like a huge break day. Like yesterday, we were beside ourselves missing that early. That little break, the Nasdaq opened up, 2% and started screaming. And I was like, you know what? Tesla could easily go. It was only up like 1% at the time or something, and then it was just like, boom, just took off right off the open. Obviously not getting any similar vibes to that today at all right now, with a very, very sort of dead pre-market for various names like Tesla. But that SFD there, Smithfield Foods, some of these names, I think the food names are going to be interesting with, with inflation potentially, coming back here. I mean, we'll have to see what happens with any interest rate cuts or whatnot. But if we don't get any of those, oh, hold on a second. Let me get rid of that. I can just see food costs going higher here. So Smithfield has a good quarter. Maybe margins increase here if they can get on the scale of pricing and maybe to the high side. Looking to break through $26. Most likely a dividend payer, up 6% there. I don't know that to be true. I could look it up. But SFD there in the food space, a good one. Always like some of the outside, the different plays, right? We did have a question on TikTok earlier about Beyond Meat. That's going to be something completely different. I mean, these guys, they're trying to find their way, and, they did release some protein shakes. We talked about that. Someone was supposed to send us a bunch of those protein drinks. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but, I would not look, and thanks for the question there on TikTok, I wouldn't look at Beyond Meat until it broke $1 again. That can give it the momentum back there to the upside to try to hold that dollar. But the last time we did it, we were up there for about a second. We went to 107, and then since then we've been straight to the downside. So I would actually look for it to get above $1, then hit some of these resistance points, and then if you're able to find locates or something, then go short. It's like, if only to have gone short some of these names, like you'd be 30% in the money if you shorted that dollar mark and looking like it wants to go lower. You do have to hold out for some of these plays, which is why I don't like that rule. It wasn't allowed in the
competition.
Well, it would have been allowed. We allowed everything. But right into there, this is a good play for me next time. I'm going to pick some of these dogs and just short them. But, just to that point, someone on the chat also said Sidious Space Mobile. So, they had some good moves lately as well. And this is an interesting formation right here, as you're sort of getting a little bit of a cup and handle, but the cup is now forming into this area. So we'll have to see if there's going to be a breakout now in and around this area. It looks like we're trying to push it 270 breakout there and a nice little hold of your 200 period moving average. So again, like if you're swing trading, this name could break out like on a story, right? I mean, it's probably 30% or so short float, generally speaking here for SIDU. I think it's relatively high. This is the short that SIDU. This is the short that Obi took. All right, so let's have a quick little look here. Q4 in 13 days, Monday, April 6th. So get ready for that one to come through here. And the overview tells me, no, it's not that bad. 12.5% or 12.1% short float there today on Benzinga. So yeah, Sidus could be a good play as well. Okay, 71,000. We have Redbook coming up shortly as well. A couple numbers today, right, that we're going to be hitting off at 9:45. Let me just double check our quick little Trader TV research page here. I'm going to pop it out just to show everybody.
PMI manufacturing.
Yeah, just to show everybody what they get here. So this is what you get when you subscribe, man. You get all of this, all the pre-market trading, which isn't much, but we're going over it right now. The earnings that are coming today, EVTL, not much going on there. And then a whole bunch of stories. CoreWeave, there's your Estee, Lauder. And then here's what we're talking about right now. S&P PMI manufacturing numbers coming out and services. Composite manufacturing and services. So all the PMI, the run of PMI is coming at 9:45. Then Richmond Fed composite, that should be okay. And Fed's bar, apparently speaking, in and around 18:30, 6:30 tonight. There. So, okay. I will not be paying attention to the markets, most likely at 6:30. But today is actually a nothing day. I think it's Tuesday.
Our swimming moved to Monday, so we were doing swimming yesterday for my daughter, and then it's going to be, what everyone should be paying attention, forget about that. What everyone should be paying attention to after the bell is GameStop, everybody.
Oh yeah, we didn't have that. We didn't have that on that list there. After hours GameStop.
Well, I don't. Look.
Sorry, it wasn't on the earnings calendar I used, which is why I didn't include it. It is reporting though. That's my bad.
Yeah, we did check yesterday.
I mean, it's not doing much of anything, but that doesn't mean it couldn't change. You know, if you're being real about it, every chance you've had to buy off the 20 level on GameStop's been pretty interesting. And look, it's a turnaround story. We know there's still not a huge, but there's a small short float here that's worth it. You got a pretty good bottom reversal candle in. Like, there's a there. We've seen it before. Like, I remember at least a couple of times on earnings, if it just kind of hung around in the afternoon, it was like a late kind of, maybe it was some shorts covering, who knows, but there was some rallies in the afternoon. So if it were to take out, around that bottom, take out this 23 and a quarter level, could be something for this afternoon. There's no catalyst because they're reporting tonight, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't get some kind of a move just to participate if you see the volume start to pick up and it breaks out yesterday's high. I think that can be on the back of the radar, and certainly it'll be on the radar tomorrow. I mean, it's worth it. Like, when this is the stock that it's obviously probably never going to be quite as great as it was in 2020 and all the meme craze, but it doesn't mean it's not going to move around from time to time. So yeah, this could be on the radar, probably more for the afternoon than anything else is going to be GME. And I realized JL8 in the chat just said something about Jefferies, and I just realized, didn't really check in on that after the story for them potentially being bought out is what spiked it up. It hasn't fallen, even though the response was there's no current bid and there's no current desire to bid on them from the firm mentioned. So I kind of thought that maybe this would drop on that. Interesting. I guess the market still thinks that Jefferies could still get bought here. We'll see. I think when you have deal speculation, I find it sometimes puts a short-term floor on the stock, but that only lasts so long until you better get some kind of a deal or someone saying, hey, this is our bid. A couple of days without that happening, and that little bit of a floor that you had can go away very, very quickly. Only a couple of minutes to go till 10 o'clock, but I kind of thought Jefferies would be a bit more volume and movement today.
Not too much volume there in that, Jefferies. Sorry about that. Let's get right into the futures, though.
Yeah, 655, Adara, and a third is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're down 0.45 right now, but that same 655 area is acting as a bit of a resistance level, hence why we closed below it. We're looking at 650.241 right now, so we're going to say our first level of support is that $50 area right at 650. Let's see if we can bounce off there. If we catch a bid for whatever reason, look at those topping tail candles that we couldn't break through yesterday right into 660. We're going to say 660 as our first area of resistance, Adara.
Be sure to check out our Trader TV Live watch list every single day. It is free to subscribe. It goes straight to your inbox, and we've got a list of what earnings are going to be coming that day, major news catalysts, what's moving higher and lower that day. You can find it all at the Trader TV Live watch list. Sharif also has his morning notes, so feel free to subscribe to both of those to get all the info you need. Now, our first story today is actually a story that is evolving, and I think will continue to evolve. Most recent headline I just saw come through is a report that Iran is actually charging some ships for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. But Sharif, oil headlines are just never ending. What are some of the biggest ones to know today?
Absolutely, Adira. On again, off again. They're going to make a deal. They're in discussions. They're denying it. You guys saw the headlines yesterday. We'll see if we get more of the same today. But President Trump claimed productive U.S.-Iran talks and a pause in military strikes. However, as I mentioned, Iran denied negotiations took place, casting doubt, of course, on the de-escalation narrative. Iran signaled it may allow selective transit, but uncertainty remains. Today, we heard something about a Thai ship able to get through. We'll wait to verify that, of course. Bottom line, though, Adira, even partial disruptions keep a structural bid under oil prices.
Yeah, every time I see a report suggesting that this conflict is over or they're in talks, you see another one suggesting the conflicts continue. Just seeing a headline now, just to let you guys know from a couple seconds ago, siren sounding in northern Israel. So unfortunately, this crisis continues. Neil, USO.
Yeah, so look, here's USO up 3.5%. And yesterday, like my thought was oil was a little bit weaker. So nat gas was, if you wanted to fade it, was maybe 1% or so weaker. Today, it's 3.5% weaker. So that's the first observation is that same reason that led me to prefer oil, which trended down the entirety of the day with one exception. Like look at it, it's still relatively weak. So I'm actually hoping that this can drag it up a little bit here. That would be spicy. Like if USO drags this higher and then we get like some kind of a trend break or play into some resistance levels, that can work rather nicely. But I think a lot of times what'll happen is, in speaking of trend breaks, the best opportunities are when you have something just absolutely distinct. You're not going to know that there's going to be volume spike right in here, like at 11 o'clock to take it to the downside. But when that move reverts, it's nasty into VWAP. And then when you get this trend break, like this is what I like. This is kind of what I like, where it's very more clean. Like it's hard to pick this one up, but when it's a really clean upward trend, and then break the trend line, or just play off of VWAP. This is so pattern. It's all about the pattern to me. And yes, I do, like I said, I do like oil a little bit better. I feel like it was respecting the patterns. It just, when it was trending down, it was shorted under VWAP the whole way kind of deal. And then you'd still get your opportunities. Like there was a trend break here in addition to the volume weighted average price. So that's what I want to wait for. I like it when these are in play, and I find that they're much better technically than I would have thought, and they're very much still in play. Just remember, you don't know when the next headline is coming, so you trade with stops. Understand that, hey, if I'm trading it, waiting for a trend break, and it's just screaming higher on positive, or I guess it'd be negative news, but positive news for energy, you just can't sit there hoping that it's going to hold a VWAP, or hoping it's going to bounce a VWAP, or hoping it's going to break a trend. Allow it to actually happen, and then make the trade. So yeah, every single uptrend I'm fading when it breaks a trend here on oil.
I'm just looking long. Yeah, I mean, I think here today, as oil just continues to actually give us the trend, right? I mean, I try to say like I'm trying to work on trend trading, and we got that question about like support and resistance and what our number one strategies are. So for me, like just going back to what's a good strategy of mine is this 200 period moving average on the 1 minute chart. So for me, this has been like a look for the momentum changing sort of. And as long as we're above the 200 period moving average, and especially above VWAP as well, I mean, I'd like to get these two a little closer to each other, then that would mean a pretty strong long indication. So for me right now, dip buying into basically 112 to 111 area, right into here is a good one. I think into yesterday's closing prices. And remember, oil doesn't care about yesterday's closing print because it actually closes here at 230. This is all after hours trading as far as the NYMEX is concerned, but shout out to ICE, got the vest on. But yeah, up to 115 here, good level. I think we break longer. This is just a 1 minute chart. If you're looking at a 3 minute chart, it's something very, very similar. Like here's this 111 to 112 area. So it just looks like if we get some dip buy opportunities, we can try to support that. And then a break at 111, and I think we can get out. But we want to make sure that we're watching and listening to all the news stories. I mean, we have this sort of poll up right now. and they're kind of one and the same in the poll. Make sure you do get it. I want to say shout out to everybody that's part of our day today, whether or not you're on Instagram Live or TikTok or Twitter or something called YouTube or Twitch or, I don't know, TikTok, did I say that already? A bunch of different ones. There's oil, energy, kick. Yeah. Geopolitical there, 44%, oil, energy, very much tied to the hip right now as everybody just watching and listening to see if we do get any breaking news from the Middle East. So oil definitely on the radar, but I would trade it with stop orders, man. I mean, there's been so many times. I mean, even yesterday we had that huge USO trade off the open where we wound up shorting it. And then, we had this whole move down. We were short 112 right off VWAP right there. Actually, 112.50 is where we were short. It went all the way to 106. Like, that was $5 to $6 winner. And then we had to put our stop with the last 10% or so because this move up would have taken out, percentage anyways of our profits if we let that run. So we did have a stop in there, and I think it was 111, so we wound up taking a buck and change on the last little bit, but definitely trade USO with stops there today. And yeah, I'm looking for this area here between 111 to 112. So that's going to be my play for United States Oil. I didn't write it down on the note today. I've got Palantir, TQs, Hood, and SLV. So I actually looking at SLV, but we'll talk about that as we go through the list and get through some of these ideas. So next up, CoreWeave and Nebius, very similar businesses. Let's go find out what the story is.
What connects them or what ties them together, Sean, today is the fact they both got positive analyst notes from BofA Securities, specifically analyst Tal Liani. What are the details on these notes, Sharif?
Yeah, with respect to CoreWeave, Adara, they received a buy rating from BofA, as you mentioned. $100 price target is what they're earmarking that at. That implies about a 22% upside from the close yesterday. And they say CoreWeave is targeting about a $79 billion infrastructure as a service, so IaaS, not SaaS anymore. Growth is driven by what they're saying is explosive AI compute demand as well as agentic AI workloads. They're seen as a preferred infrastructure layer for next-gen AI deployments. But let's be honest, demand has outstripped supply. And when we looked at what they were renting out in terms of their GPUs, we saw a lot of the A800s, the older chips that had a 2-year backlog, that were actually being priced at 125% the cost. So that's how much CoreWeave was charging their clients versus what they actually charged them for those chips when they came out initially. So it gives you an idea, Dara, that demand very much outstripping supply, and Bank of America doesn't actually see that imbalance normalizing before 2029.
Yeah, Nebius also getting a nod from Bank of America, along with Microsoft and ORCL. Oracle we're going to talk about in a little bit. But guys, Nebius, CoreWeave, which do you prefer here?
Do we have to pick one?
I mean, I think...
like if you... Yeah, this is one of those questions where, for right now, it's hard not to say. Like, how would you not say Nebius if we're looking at technically? Like, one of these two things is in a pretty, I'd say, a pretty distinct uptrend. And I'm not in love with either one of them right here, like right now. So, but if you're forcing me, and we're looking at two, yeah, E-signal chart's going to be able to have CoreWeave. You could say, okay, well, CoreWeave is coming off of those lows, so that's going to be good, but it's still very much in a bit of a downward pattern, still making those lower highs, where you could make the solid argument that Nebius just recently broke out. I'd be a little worried on Nebius' side about this flat bottom that you got going on here at 113, right? Like, we lose that, and things are looking a little bit dubious for Nebius. It's just from a pure technical standpoint. Like, the support and resistance is very clean on this for the last week. It's a 121, 122 area short, and then you've been able to go long off the 113 level, and you get the upgrade in the morning that it doesn't look like it's very strong, and probably retesting some of that support in here today. Like, when I see that kind of a flat bottom break, and it's bounced so many times, I tend to usually think, oh, well, if it's 4, 5, 6 times that you've bounced off that level and there hasn't been any continuation, when we're looking a little bit weak, you look for the breakdown. So I don't necessarily love either one of them on the upgrade, but Nebius, I think, gives you a pretty clean support level. today.
I just know these guys have strong betas against the market, and honestly, if the market's going to be down 0.61 here, I think these are both just shorts. I do like look, I like the upgrades, right? I mean, last week at GTC was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I think it was last week. You know, CoreWeave and Nebius. Jensen actually spoke about both of these names. Was speaking positively about Nebius and CoreWeave, and NVIDIA does have obviously business, and I think NVIDIA's invested in both of these names as well. So, and again, it's that whole circle thing as well, where you buy I'll invest $5 billion with you, you give me that $5 billion back for the chips, and so on and so forth. So there is a connection here, that is for sure, with CoreWeave, NVIDIA, Nebius, and all that. And you could just see, even though this has been a pretty violent name, we know that CoreWeave can move around, that is for sure. It's actually still stuck in a range. I mean, this goes all the way back to November. I mean, not much going on here. So to me, I do think it's a long. You know, I mean, as we need more compute power and as these GPUs become more and more expensive, you know, CoreWeave and Nebius is a way to, for smaller businesses as well, to get involved in the space, building AI agents and whatnot, using some of their platform to help with all of that. Crude apparently popping right now, just heard in my ear. I don't know what.
I have a story on that.
Okay, Dara's going to get a story on that because right here, there's a nice little pop there. And look what's happening. Whoops. Saudi prince wants to continue the Iran war. I don't know if that's the story that you have there, Dara, but right now, oil going to the downside. So I prefer, upside, sorry, market down. I prefer CoreWeave and Nebius actually at these levels. Both get a lot of positive talk in the business and in the space, but I would rather own NVIDIA than both of them. So that's what that is. Down goes Fraser. I don't know if the market's Fraser right now or not. The market doesn't seem to be too resilient to these headlines right here. I think the market's more like...
Sound like Jake Paul when he got shook by Barkley.
Barkley? No, I didn't see that.
Well,
one.
Saquon. There was.
Oh, I saw. No, that was Logan.
Oh, sorry, Logan Paul.
Yeah. That's funny.
You gave him
Logan Paul is so good, man. He's the ultimate heel, no matter what he does. That guy is too much, man. Throwing so much shade at Tom Brady.
The trash talk. That was
it's just so much, man. He's so good times. He's bringing so much interest and everything, eyeballs to every single thing there. But all right, let's go back over to Adair and double check that headline.
So the specifics here for the headline, the gist of it is correct, Sean, but there's a key detail. The detail is that New York Times reporting that the Saudi prince is not just wanting the war to continue, he's specifically reportedly pushing President Trump to continue the conflict. So he just doesn't want it to continue. He's actually trying to get President Trump to continue this conflict. Speaking of continuation, so we're for kind of the jarring transition here, but EL had quite the drop yesterday. Looks like they could be close to a pretty big deal, Sharif.
Yeah, 15% off the highs, Adara. It was trading about 10 a.m. at the highs, and then when that story came out, lost a lot of its value. But they did confirm, Estee Lauder, that is, that they are in the early stage discussions with Puig, I guess is how it's pronounced, Puig, regarding a potential merger. No financial terms were disclosed and no final decision has been made. But a combination, according to analysts, would create a global beauty powerhouse and consolidate brands like Tom Ford Beauty, Carolina Herrera, and Clinique. They also bring Puig. They bring strong growth momentum post their IPO. They did go to market in 2024. They have exposure to high margin fragrances and luxury segments. And Adara, investors are viewing this as a growth asset being acquired by a struggling incumbent.
Yeah, I looked up the pronunciation here. It looks like it's actually Puig, so take that how you will. But yeah, I was saying Puig yesterday. Either way, guys, Estee Lauder and Puig, thoughts?
Canon. Raul Mondesi, we were just talking about there.
The only reason why I know how to pronounce that company is because Yasiel Puig was a baseball player, Cuban baseball player, played for the Dodgers. But Yasiel Puig, I hate to say waste of talent, because if you get to the top level of anything, then obviously you were really good. But that guy was a freak. In this particular case, the market does not. The market seemingly doesn't like this combination here, unfortunately. We're talking about that. Like, you don't necessarily know when it's just a straight up merger. It can go either direction, and it was pretty nasty in the afternoon for EL, and it's more of the same. If you think it's a bit of an overreaction, it's not my cup. Like, this is not my cup of tea in particular, because I tend to want to look for some kind of a bounce, and it's not showing you anything in that regard, unfortunately. And it's not like it'll be SSR, because it ended up closing downside. It closed at those lows. So we're sitting here like down 1%, when in reality, we're down over 10% since this news came out. If it had been SSR, I might be thinking about something like, hey, just take a bounce back through like the 80 level. I think you let this settle. 75 is a big level on the daily here for EL. And if the market potentially has this one wrong, remember, if the market didn't like this announcement, if a deal doesn't happen, this could be like a Netflix situation. If this deal doesn't happen, Estee Lauder should get a bit of a bounce. So I would sort of think, if I hear a headline that says, oh, EL Puig deal not happening, boom, you turn around, you punch long in EL, just the same way that you could have had that same idea over in Netflix when Paramount Skydance got the deal. Well, I shouldn't say got the deal done, or is. The deal is that deal actually hasn't closed yet. But once Netflix was out of the running and it was Paramount bid that was going to hopefully close this deal, you could turn around and just grab the long in Netflix, and it did really well. So I think the similar thing for EL. I'd be hoping or looking for that kind of a headline and then try to catch the long. If that doesn't happen, then you don't have to trade it.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, there's actually still a little bit of room to go to the downside. I mean, I know that looks like a dramatic move there. We've had big moves in Estee Lauder before. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it keeps on getting hit to the downside. It seems like it's probably a good idea for them to merge. Yeah, I don't mind the deal at all to make a big conglomerate. So I think Estee Lauder, I mean, I don't know enough about the premium or anything like that, but this move here seems to be pretty dramatic all the way to the downside, but the market knows the right pricing. So for me on Estee Lauder, it's just a pass. I think if you're going to look, I was thinking about Macy's the other day as well, for a stock that's had a big move down that might have potentially bottomed out there. I think I can't remember the story, but we were looking at this and it sort of bumped back up off of the $17 mark here as well. And of course, Macy's a play also on real estate. So I think real estate is going to start to pick up at some point here again, as you know, we look to invest in things that are physical assets, and real estate should be important. Macy's with a big little level here at $17. So I actually like Macy's a little bit here as well, selling, you know, the higher quality names, and you know, definitely something to look at. I do know that the whole space, like Saks and everything, they're in trouble. I mean, here, huge malls around here are losing all the big stores. So Macy's, with owning some of their spots, seems to be a little bit of an advantage there in the real estate space. So yeah, I like Macy's down there as a little bit of a better play moving forward. I don't know enough about that Estee Lauder deal, but if you guys looked it up and see some value there, you had a big drop yesterday of $10. Might be time to pick something up.
Let's talk here about ORCL, Oracle, as of today. I mean, this is London time, so unclear if this is still happening, but they had that Oracle AI World Tour London and some AI agent-related announcements, Sharif.
Yeah, Darren, they've announced that today. It's called Fusion Agentic Application. It's targeting enterprise software workflows. The applications are designed to be autonomous, proactive, reasoning-based, kind of just moving beyond simple automation as we've come to know it. It's built on the Oracle Fusion Cloud, and the platform is going to integrate deeply with your enterprise data. It's also going to take over permissions, APIs, and workflows. That supports secure execution, according to the report. It also supports transactional systems natively, which allows your AI agents to take direct action, not just give you insights into what it can actually do. Separately, they did get the nod from Bank of America, which reinstated coverage with a buy rating and a $200 price target. That assumes about a 30% upside from where we closed out yesterday. Analysts see accelerating AI infrastructure demand as a major growth driver for the cloud business, but they got to prove it. There's execution risk. So Oracle, according to Bank of America, still has to prove, one, that they can deliver sufficient cloud capacity to meet the demand. We talked about that when we talked about CoreWeave. And they have to convert their longer dated contracts into realized revenue. We've talked about that in terms of RPO. And they've got to scale capital intensive infrastructure, Adara, efficiently so they're not overspending.
Announcement plus analyst note. What are your guys' thoughts here in ORCL?
Said it right there.
Never heard of the company.
Got to convert into actual revenue. I don't want to hear about how much you are promised. I want to hear about how much you are making. And that's going to be the concern, and it continues to be the concern, and what the underlying fear. And it's not just them, I get it. It's others too, and it's others as well.
It's raining money over there.
I just heard like a bunch of coins drop. It's like this jingle.
Yeah, why does Joey Options have a purse anyways?
Joe has a purse? No,
yeah. It's called a Merce.
It's a Merce. It's like anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Sharif,
you know what?
Sharif robbing him of his pennies.
Clearly.
There he is, picking them all up over there.
That's a little far away from his desk to be. Okay. Oh, that is like a little bit of a pouch. I'll call it a pouch.
Yeah, I like when you're traveling around. What are those hip? You wear them on the side.
I don't. There's a name for them.
Of course there is. Of course we know what.
No.
Fanny pack.
Yeah, but the one you like a
crossbody.
More like a satchel.
It's a crossbody.
It's more like a satchel.
Yeah. Satchel.
No, yeah,
satchel
like a
page.
satchel.
Satchel page.
Satchel page. Satchmo.
Fanny pack. Yeah. Man bag.
Fanny pack's the one that you wear like that. Joint. Who was the dude in the post?
I mean, you can wear the crossbody. It's the same. It's a fanny pack. Yeah, we have those. But someone famous wore one?
No, in Napoleon Dynamite. Isn't that he wore the
main guy?
The brother
I don't know.
Anyways, that doesn't
Fanny
matter.
packs are pretty popular.
Oracle. Oracle looks. Hey, you know what? It's actually in a down market. Unfortunately, it's a down market that looks weak. Otherwise, you might be saying this looks starting to look a little bit interesting. Because you are making on the daily, you're making a few higher lows. You're finally slowed down the move, distinct bottom, higher low, and then on a 15-minute, a little bit of a volume wipeout bottom last couple of days. Hold the low, higher low, but the next move on there is supposed to be a breakout. Where's our breakout? Where's our catalyst for a breakout? Where's our market strength for a breakout? Energy's going higher, market's going lower. In that regard. So it's just, you're in a kind of a wait and a holding pattern, I think, for Oracle. But if we actually do eventually get some strength, it's just more about the fact that it's really, if you look at that daily chart, again, saying it's not really making any fresh lows on the daily and holding higher lows, well, at the most recent support, we have found another rounded bottom, and then can we break that out will be the next question. And that'll be through like a 158. Do I see us going $4 and breaking out the top today? No. So Oracle, like a lot of things, is going to be a wait and see. I feel the same thing about a SoFi. Like SoFi, we talked about this yesterday. SoFi, there's two things. There's a double bottom from the muddy waters at 16.5, and then there's a breakout at 17.4. And then in the middle, you can diddle all you want, and today it looks like we're headed for the support level instead of the other.
Yeah, don't diddle too much. We have 159 here on Palantir. I'm looking here. We had a big move yesterday. This is going to be the #1 name. It's not on the stock. It's not on the watch list today, but on our rundown. But there's Palantir right now, long above 159, man. We had a big move yesterday. We'll look to buy some dips in this name, and it's kind of dipping a little bit right now. This is so, again, I'm not in the mood to sit around and get run over today. So, some days I'm in that mood. But right now, I'm not going to bid here. I don't think there's enough action in the name right here to actually get me to put a bid down here. I would much rather this thing be up and then get it, make a move down and then buy the strength because by the weakness. I'm not sure that there's going to be relative strength today in Palantir now that I see this. I mean, we were kind of cruising up here. Now we're down about $1. When we're writing this note, it's at 160.50, basically at close yesterday. And now we're starting to inch down. Not by much. We will look at the imbalances when they come out. But for me, I like Palantir down here in and around 159 and just sort of thought that we could hold this level right into there. We had bounced off a little bit. That's 159.50. That's what we're doing. But this is 159, the level before we dropped off. And then once we broke it, we never came back and saw it again. So I was thinking about this 159 area. It looks pretty key to me. Bounced around there, made move, took it out, back up. So this is kind of what I'm looking at there for PLTR. And we do have, here, I'll move my coffee cup over here. We do have the imbalances right now. We'll sort it by size. I haven't even looked at this yet. Just to see if there was an Oracle. Remember, this is going to be New York and Amex listed names. So NYSE America, shout out again to ICE, who own both of these exchanges. And there's nothing right now on here of any major consideration for myself, and definitely no Oracle. So Palantir, 159 and change. I'm sitting there waiting to see what's going on and making sure that my wife gets my fanny pack ready.
Got to get your fanny pack. Before we throw back, I want to give a big shout out to Southern Nurse Sal I, because that's how you spelled it over there on TikTok. Appreciate the love. And for all of you that are following anywhere that you are, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok.
Shout out.
I want to give you the shout out and keep the questions coming, keep the comments coming in, and to make sure, type that $sign if you are doing so in the YouTube chat so we can get that visualizer going. This is going to be, it feels like it's going to be, especially if you're looking for strength, a stock picker's market. So like there's not a heck of a lot that's standing out in terms of the upside unless you're looking at the trending energy stocks out there. So your small cappers that are running, and we have another negative story here. APO,
credit woes.
Apollo and credit woes. Yay, because the financials
are just so healthy right now.
Yeah, they're just, everything is looking so good on the XLF.
Private credit.
We had BlackRock, we had JPM, now we have Apollo with, as Neil and Sean mentioned, there are some concerns with private credit, Sharif.
Yeah, and they're limiting investor withdrawals, Adara, on their flagship private credit fund after demand for redemptions is surging. Redemption request reached 11.2% of shares. That is more than double the 5% quarterly cap that the fund actually allows. Investors are going to receive about 45%, give or take, of the requested capital. That amounts to about $730 million if you're looking at it from a notional perspective. The vehicle is what they call a non-traded BDC, which is a business development company, meaning liquidity is inherently limited. And Apollo's holding firm to that 5% redemption cap, unlike some peers, specifically here Blackstone, that have relaxed some redemption, maxes. Their basically management framed the move as protecting long-term investors, but the move highlights the growing strain across the private credit market, especially with investor concerns about loan quality and the exposure to riskier assets like software. In fact, Apollo's fund has about 12.3% exposure to software loans. That's the largest sector allocation for them.
And I think that's definitely the biggest thing here with this story. It's not just Apollo in and of itself. It's part of this larger concern here with private credit. APO, and slightly lighter volume here, of course, guys. What are your thoughts on this name?
Yeah, I think one of the things you find that note, 12% for Apollo risk to software loans or loan companies. And it's not, whenever we see whether it's the bank sector in general, the private credit market in this particular case, when it was the regional banks and all of these sort of mini crises that you'll see in the financial sectors, usually the first salvo is not the last, that's what I tend to remember over these. So while you've had like a local bounce, you look at Apollo, I mean, whatever, I don't have to tell you that that's in a downtrend. Right? You guys can all see that for yourself. While you've had a nice little bounce off pretty much exactly $100, it's that secondary push where things usually get nastier. And I think that's what Apollo seems like it's on track for a second push. I'm using them a little further out so you can see the significance of that 100 level. This goes, and I think the floodgates could open. Ultimately, this is done, we keep talking about volume, this pre-market. Apollo's on 50,000 shares of volume. So suffice to say, there's a 0% chance. When it's on almost no volume and it would have to drop $6 to get to the level, you're not taking that break. Because just the volume to get there, it's almost likely going to be a bit of a fake. I think this is a bit of a wait and see for me. I've already told you the financial name that I'd be interested in looking at today, and that's simply, it's SoFi because of the Muddy Waters report and the levels that it's granted us, right, since that report came out, which, as I said, I called it a double bottom. You could make an argument that's close enough to a triple bottom at that 16.5. I think that gets tested today. We're in a downtrend in the markets, and the financials are part of that as well. So I don't see a reason why we don't test that obvious support here on a SoFi. But the Apollo 100, that goes, I think the floodgates could really open up. And I don't think this story is anywhere from gone. History has told us that whenever there's a little bit of smoke in the financial sector, it tends to take a little bit longer to unravel, especially when people say, oh, it's not that bad. The contagion's not as bad as you think. Yeah. It's usually like a couple salvos after that, and then we're good.
Yeah, I feel like same thing was happening in that IGV where you had software getting really wrecked for a while, and then it eventually started to climb the back end a little bit there. We could start to see that maybe happening, and the bank stocks will start to recover just a little bit over there. Here's NVIDIA. I mean, it's crazy here, like 129,000. Like it's some of these levels. We already talked about a low environment for volume this morning so far, and I think that that's happening. Like the fact that this even just moved up even 50 cents there on this kind of an imbalance is really interesting there. ORBS is $1, so watch out for that. That's just coming up right there. Breaking of $1 could get orbs going again, and this is a name that's had obviously a huge move to the downside, so watch out here if we can hold that dollar mark for ORBS. I'm not really seeing, too much of anything else on here at all. So let me just go over the names that I was looking at one more time here. So we had Palantir at 159. That's probably going to come in. We'll watch it. I have it up here on the list on one of my side screens over here. Actually, I'm going to replace Tesla with it. This
with Tesla.
Replace Tesla with this. Okay, and then I was also looking at the Nasdaq, and we said we try to play I mean, when we wrote this down in the pre-market for a pre-market level here on the Nasdaq and the triple Qs, a levered product, of course, I wrote down 45 short. And now we're all the way down here. So I think we got to still try to play VWAP 44.20, 44.40 as a NASDAQ getting hit to the downside. So we will look for a bump in the NASDAQ to fade. I did like Robinhood. This is a name that we didn't talk about. We just talked about private credit. Not going to be a huge thing for Robinhood. I would think they don't have too many of those loans, if any. Actually, they don't have any loans, or I wouldn't think, on their books, unless it's just company specific. So yeah, looking to break through 70 right here. I think it can hold 70. We've had some moves try to break through there. Let's see what happens around $70, a big level for Robinhood. And then I had written down, and I haven't looked at this at all, SLV between 63.50 and 64. I thought I was getting really aggressive when I wrote down 63.50 here, because it was literally where it was when I wrote it down. That's why I said 63.50 up to 64. Again? So I was sort of hoping that we would get this bump into 64, and that's not happening either. So I thought I was getting pretty aggressive with, I'm just going over the sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV Sean. So now I'm kind of lost right now. We do have fire testing in the background, so if you do hear that, we do apologize for that move. But yeah, so I'm looking at silver short right now and the NASDAQ short, but both moves have sort of started without me, which is fine. We'll wait for it to come back up. Looking to short silver around 63 then.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, like SMCI, which I was playing for a short. Obviously, everything is already starting to come back in, so it's going to require some patience. Like things like pull back into VWAP or hold a resistance level off the open really quick are going to be in play, I think, for sure. You're also seeing that sharp move up in energy has finally dragged. You can see sharp move, but straight side up move in USO has finally dragged Boyle with it, so we'll still look for some trend breaks there. As we ring the bell for the second time this week, it is Tuesday. Ring it. Although not a real bell, it's still that virtual bell. And the other thing, Bitcoin, IBIT, obviously you guys know that's what we look at for Bitcoin. We're back underneath 71, now down at 70,600. So this is also trending back into that 70,000 level. Not a lot of strength to start off the day, unless you were looking at energy names.
Or Palantir. I mean, Palantir goes right to 162.50 there. Like, I was just saying, like, 159, that should probably come in, and I don't want to sit there because I wasn't sure about what was going on. Looks like we are getting real strong right now with Palantir, as there it goes, man. Breaking through 162. I mean, yesterday's high already breached on Palantir. So we'll wait to see if we do get a little bit of a callback on that name right now. We can check out on Robinhood. I did hear Adara say call for her. You let me know, Andre, if that is the case. Okay, what's up, Adara?
It's nothing major here, just JEF on watch, Jefferies Financial Group, CNBC reporting that they are not interested in selling. Now, we already knew there was some kind of report suggesting that the company that would be buying them was kind of shaky in terms of whether or not this would be happening. Now, CNBC reporting Jefferies doesn't even want to sell. Back to you.
Randy has not brought another coffee yet. Okay, so Palantir on a pullback in. I mean, just looking for a level here. VWAP is going to be right around 160.50 right now, and that could be a decent long level here as we look. 159.50 is the better one. So if we can come back into 159.50, I think we'd look at it. Look at the NASDAQ starting to go back up to the upside right here. Maybe silver. Not that silver is going to follow the NASDAQ, which it's not. Maybe we get a 63 fill, which is like what we talked about, the 200 period. We're definitely looking for that. Robinhood, silver, Qs, and Palantir. So I think I'm just going to go back to Palantir and put a bid. I mean, maybe we get some sort of a crack down, and we know that we like 159. So I'm actually going to put a bid at 160 right now for Palantir and see if that comes in. Look, I don't think it's going to, but if we do get a swipe down, I don't mind sitting here right at the 50 period and that breakout long, and then we can use 159 as sort of our basement level there. But if we do get a swipe down on Palantir, I want to be sitting there. So we're sitting there right now at 160.05. Which means it will probably go to 160.10 or so. But here we come. Okay, here it comes right now. Watch out to see if we get a little bit of a move down. Palantir, Qs, Hood, silver on watch.
Yeah, and IBIT or Bitcoin, I think, which we're watching, is bouncing off 40 even, which is not necessarily a gigantic level. In Bitcoin, it's actually 70,500, but it's trying to break this little bit of a trend. So I might get the chance to go into that long. While SMCI, hello,
what's going on over there?
The SMCI just popped 3%. So that'll work. It's now back into the green. This
Holy
is charged.
shit,
This is
Tesla
really charging
popping.
to the upside. So if I'm looking for a fade, I wrote down 23 as a level. It was at 22 when I sat down or close to it. So I'm going to look at yesterday's high as the first spot to go pop and drop. You said Tesla? All right,
Yeah,
I've been
Tesla's
about to break
popping.
that trend. Really?
Yeah, so here's Tesla right here. We almost got, by the way, we almost got that
There's no
price on Palantir. Like it stopped at 12s, like I was at 05s. Yeah, there goes Tesla. Wow, monster move, man. We were talking about this yesterday when it had a huge move yesterday for, where there we go, we're in position right
like
now.
the gigafactory.
We're in Palantir. I got in a little early there at 160.20s there on Palantir. Yeah, so there it goes, man. Nice move upside there for Tesla, right into yesterday's afternoon range. So 382.50 or so, looking great. Again, like back to 380, let's go. Like it needs to come back to VWAP to get excited for it right here. All right, man, we're in a position right now. We've got 160.20s right here on Palantir. I do understand this is early. This is not necessarily the levels that we want. Just wanted to get a little piece. We have half a unit, going to get 1.5 units. Just sitting with 1 unit at 160 flat. So hopefully that can come in and we'll be able to see what's good over here on the side of Palantir. So we're long right now. You know, a little bit of an out. If we can get back into 50 again, maybe we punch the out there. But here it comes. There it is. Now we got the 1.5 units. So we're into Palantir now. Let's see what winds up happening. Giving it to 159. A 159 break. That's what we wrote down. So let's wait to see if it comes into play here. 159 for Palantir.
There.
First oil headline of the open market session this Tuesday. USO on watch here. Israeli military saying they've targeted fuel stations across Lebanon. So some fuel stations being targeted here by Israel. USO holding up relatively well here, guys.
Still, I mean, the trend from this morning, all morning long, is still going to be in play for USO. And I'll get to Boyle and what it's doing in a quick little second. But IBIT, first trade in for me, it kind of broke this little bit of a downtrend that it had. Give it to the prior bar low. That's also 24-hour market, so it doesn't really matter that that was a low at 4 o'clock, but it is. So there's a bit of a double bottom there. We lose at 40 on IBIT, and then we'll jump out.
Wow,
still, SMCI still going. So this is now through 22. As I said, this is up to prior resistance yesterday. So this is the spot that I want to look for at that curl. Relief rally, it's not SSR today, so there's no short sale restriction in effect, or the uptick rule is not in effect, is what I should say. But if we lose VWAP, kind of fail this high, get the other end of the trade on the back end, we're going to look for that short over here in Supermicro. But it will be against the grain, so I want to be patient and actually see that topping tail candle and reversal. I know we have not talked too much about the biggest and the baddest, NVIDIA.
Oh, right.
Not doing much, but it is breaking out above VWAP. It's not doing what Tesla or Palantir did earlier, but it is an up move off of the open here for NVIDIA that's trying to hold the volume-weighted average price. That's about all I can give for you. Maybe there's some more strength in another chip name. Yeah, I mean, AMD's up 1%. NVIDIA is flat. AMD, it seems like on any day that there's moves, AMD is probably better than NVIDIA. And once again, seeing the same thing.
Yeah, no. All right, so we took a long here. We'll see if it can fill us out or not on Palantir. This is like really swiping. It's very, very strange situation for me anyways, what it looks like here on PLTR. It's, I don't know exactly the move here. It just touched into the 30s there of 159. It got back into the 80s, and now it's pretty dramatic here. So I'm going to watch out for this 159 break on Palantir. We may not want to be in this. We do sit around and wait for a minute. There he goes. We're going to get longer right here at teens. There it is. Okay, so now we've got it. I'm going to watch out this 159 break, and I think we need to do better and maybe get out of this. We'll give it a little bit of a move through it, but right now we're long at 159.65. Not doing great here on this PLTR position. I don't really know. There goes the break. So I'm going to give it a couple seconds underneath that. But one more move down below that 159. Like now you have a chance to try to get going. This is the level that we wrote down. So if we wind up losing, we're in 65 cents too early here. But again, we took it, thought that it could have been strong. The market's obviously a little bit weak. Here goes Palantir. Hands off. There it is. Fail on the first trade, man. We tried it long. It just does not hold. Palantir breaks lower and now looks to get even lower on that one. We thought we would trade it because it was powerful. It was strong and long yesterday. But it looks like Tesla Tesla is the one to look at right here, as that is just blasting
upside,
higher right now for Tesla. Palantir still going lower, so it looks like we either missed a story there or what. But with the market not doing too much, Palantir getting lower, lower, lower. So it's a good thing we got out of that position.
Microsoft is moving lower too with a positive analyst note. So there's just a lot of things that seem to be getting hit this morning. I have not seen anything on PLTR beyond the story I brought you guys this morning with this potential British government deal.
Okay, I'm going to say...
It could just be a software thing, because I don't know if we saw this chart just now when Adair was mentioning. It is Microsoft that is looking the weakest. Like, as much as Tesla is breaking higher, all you're getting is sell action here on Softy. So unfortunately for Microsoft, this might actually take out a pretty key bottom here if it gets to 375. And Bitcoin tends to not be crazy off the open, so it's at least holding that low at IBIT's holding the 40 low with that 70,000 and 70,500, I guess is what I'm looking for. But as the market goes down, this is kind of weird. Like USO is pulling back and threatening to break trend as the market's going down. So USO is for now trading with the market, not what I would have expected. So we'll let it do what it does, and if we actually get some kind of a trend break, that's when I'll look over to energy for sure. Just sort of looking at the I would imagine the IGV, I see you in the chat, Frank's trades. IGV is probably just taking it on the chin with that Microsoft leading the way. Yeah, the IGV is certainly leading the way to the downside. Micron is tops of the visualizer today.
Okay.
But it's not moving. It's at 400, but it's already broken 400 several times today. So Micron could lose.
Teslas.
Oh, this is a 50 period on the daily for Micron. Yuck. Fail for that because it's losing the 50, but also IBIT there was unable to hold on, to that 40 level. So we took the trend break, but it breaks the prior bar low, and we're headed down. So you'd think energy would be making that move to the upside in all of this, but it's just not.
I don't know. Adair, what did I miss about Tesla? Because I don't really understand. No, it's moving a lot higher.
I know, like I said, there was a lot of happening before the market with recircling of that old headline here with Elon Musk saying they're going to be building that terafab. I have not seen anything other than that, and nothing since. That was around like 8:40.
Okay. All right. So with nothing going on Tesla, here we go. We're in it right now, and it's trying to go a little lower. We just did get a little bit of a bid there. Okay, there it goes. So we'll take a little bit out as we're trying to make a little bit back here on our hit. There it is. We're now $1 in. Wow, it just was $1 in, and then there's the move higher right now. So maybe there's a little bit of a pullback. We're short here at 384.50s. Let me capture a little bit. Okay, there's a nice move into the 70s again. Let me capture. There we go. We bid some 68s. I'm also waiting in the 40s here to see if we can get that move back in, but there's a little bit of a retracement play on Tesla, hoping for lower now. I mean, the market's breaking lower. Maybe we do get something here on TSLA. I'll cancel my 40s, go a little bit lower than that, and see if we can get something in the teens right now for Tesla. Trying to pull back just a bit. Maybe there is something here. There it is, man. There's $1. So we lose $1 or so on our good friend Palantir, and try to make it back on Tesla. But whether or not it goes there, I don't know. Let's bid some more at 50s. This stock is a wild one today, man. Tesla, nothing but upside. I think this is well worth. There we go. We take a 52, Phil. So I'm just making sure. Like, my stop is 385. So, you know, we're already here capturing. It's 50 cents worth of risk. We just took $1. So it's 2 to 1. I'm going to take another piece out right here as well at 75s. Just not sure what we're doing here with Tesla, and willing to wait for a little lower. We're in the teens. And if we get that filled, then we're out of about half. And then we can see if there is a downside play the rest of this day for Tesla. If not, our out is well defined, and, you know, happy to take the out where it lies right now for Tesla. I'm going to take another bid here at 40.
Yeah, the market's really starting to crank down here. Yeah. We just got SMCI off of yesterday's high. It's just pulling into VWAP. But look at what happened to IBIT after it broke that support. Thank goodness we got out of IBIT at 40. Bitcoin is at 70,002. 2.4.
There we go.
Or sorry, 2.8. So we're continuing to head lower here. That's why you got to be able to jump out. USO is taking out the high, so that's gonna now we're making a little bit more sense. Right, like market, everything's starting to come back into the downside. You got energy going back into the upside. But as for USO's taking out the high, Boyle is about to take VWAP. So short SMCI of yesterday's highs. But I'm going to look for this trend break above VWAP on Boyle and looking for it to trail the move that's happening in USO. USO's at the high of the day, and Boyle's only trying to get there now. So I like this trend break. Market down or weakness and energy strength seems like it's still the way to go.
Yeah, we're
trend until it stops.
Yeah, that's what I fought the trend here on Tesla, and it was a good one, man. We just wound up getting filled. We got two fills down there at one at 383. First of all, we got a bunch. We got some at 383.40, some at 15, and some at 20 right there. Now we have half left. So half left right there. So we're playing with house money. Obviously, if it breaks, we'll be flat on that stock because we got out of half for roughly a 1-to-1 with a little bit more extension on the 1-to-1 there. Our first outs is 383.87. So right there, much better look than 1-to-1, and our best outs is almost 2-to-1, 3-to-1 down there for Tesla. So let's see. I mean, as Neil said, the market seems to be coming back in quite aggressively right now. So will Tesla follow suit? It did, but looking for a little bit more. I mean, I was thinking VWAP. So I'm at 382.50 right now. That's not looking the greatest right now. UGRO here, Urban Grow was halted.
Yeah.
There. Did you say that it was halted before? No. Okay, yeah. So I was just saying, because I didn't, just hearing that it's open right now. UGRO halted and now opening down and going lower. So the next halt will be around 650 here if it does come in. We opened up around that 7.25 area. I'm not sure exactly, but here we go. The halt band should show up here if it does go into a halt stay one more time. But for right now, no, nothing going on right now.
I've noticed sometimes, maybe it's just a me thing, on the Amex stocks, I'm not always seeing them. But on the Nasdaq in New York, if you're trading at Real Trading, by the way, and if you're trading with a broker that doesn't have the halt bands and you're trading the small cappers, then ask your broker.
Yeah.
Because the reason we have halt bands, because traders bandy together, put in requests saying, hey, we would like to see the halt bands on our level 2, and then Real Trading got them for us. They're in the SIP. You should be able to find them. Just taking another leg out here on SMCI, I want to respect the range. Yesterday's top was about 22.25 or 22.10, and then the bottom here is like 21.3. We've already made that range once, so it's a reversion trade. The first out was VWAP, and then we're looking for that low of the day on SMCI. Boyle still refuses to break this trend and break VWAP as USO goes higher, but it's very close to getting that confirmation for this little VWAP hold and go. Let's go to Adara at the desk. I believe we have economic numbers.
We do. In just 2 seconds now. S&P Services PMI 52 forecast. S&P Manufacturing PMI 51.5 forecast. Composite PMI 51.9 forecast. So global composite PMI 51.4. That's going to be below estimates of 51.9. Services PMI also below estimates 51.1 versus 52 expected. The only one of these that is higher than estimates, and actually quite a bit higher than estimates, is S&P Manufacturing PMI 52.4 versus 51.5 expected. Again, to recap, S&P Services and Composite PMI lower than expected. S&P Manufacturing PMI higher than expected. Stay tuned at 10 a.m. when we get Richmond Fed Composite Index. Here's the Nasdaq trying to bounce here off of lows. We'll take a look at the S&P 500, also bouncing off lows. I have a DeepSeek headline, probably nothing massive, but I'm just seeing reports here that they're going to be expanding their technology and hiring more agentic AI staff to expand their agentic capabilities. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adair, right there. So it looks like all the PMIs a little higher, right? I mean, well, actually, global...
2 lower, 1 higher.
Right. Global services are the ones, and composite, 51.4, 51.1 versus 51.9, 52. And then the PMI, S&P global manufacturing, slightly higher. But it doesn't look like the market wants to do much. I mean, Tesla on that number went down into 383, which is why I thought they were higher, but they're actually lower. So right into there, 383. I'm just going to put a bid there for 10% of what we have left. Remember, we have half left. So we'll see if we get another fill in and around that, and then we'll wait to see for a bottom pick right now because the market looks like it might be trying to rally back. Remember, our stop is at 385. So if that hits, man. We'll get out of it there. And I'm not going to reload this, because then all of a sudden, here we go, messes up the whole. There it goes, messes up the whole trade. On the reload. So, all right, I mean, whatever. I can see that we made money on this trade, but obviously not as much as we would have liked to if it gone the other way. There's the break on Tesla. Congratulations with that one, man. The market is really ripping on Tesla. At least we made a little bit back, there. Seeing if Palantir is trying to find a bottom. I mean, I was trying to be patient with this and give it a second here, a little bit of a breath. I don't know if this is a bottom or not, but 156.50, you know, could rip that high, and then we have this low to consider right there too. But see, it doesn't really. I'm not sure, man. The market, if anything, is probably a short right now. A little bit of a bump higher there into the 50-period moving average. Let me see what USO is doing. Quick time, slowly grinding higher. I mean. Yeah, definitely. We talked about trying to play momentum here. Looks like oil momentum is definitely long with the trend for sure. There's not much momentum, but the trend is definitely higher. Maybe a 50-period break gets us lower, but I want to buy this name. So anything near the 50, that's 114.80 down to 114.50. Thank you there so much, Rob. Which red one? Yeah, sorry. There's still, watch out, there's still some in it. Quite a bit there. Rob gave us a reload there. Thing is, I've always talked about this, man. If the coffee gets too cold, it's like I almost can't even drink it unless it's a cold brew. But all right, so let's look for something else.
I love cold brew.
Yeah, me too. I had that yesterday. SLV right there. At second cup, they have pistachio milk. So it's not a cream. So it's not like it's not heavy or anything. It's just like a little slight flavor there. So I got the cold brew with pistachio milk yesterday. That was pretty tasty. All right, so SLV on the downswing. I mean, this is what we want to look. Whoa, good thing we didn't get back into Palantir. Losing levels right now. And thanks, Tesla, for running the top there and coming right back in. Goes Tesla, but the market may be getting faded just a little bit here as well. Tesla, man, that's too bad we got stopped out of that, but oh, wow. Right back in. Wow, okay, right back in there for Tesla. Look, man, I have to take that stop out. That's the high of the day. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Would love to be involved with TSLA right now. Bouncing off VWAP, it looks like maybe that's a trade, but I don't think we want to go long with the market being weak. But wow, Tesla, damn. Okay, a $2 move right back in. Interesting there for TSLA.
Yeah, as the market tries to go lower here, I don't know if is the Nasdaq going to be able to bounce with the IGV and with Microsoft continuing this trend down. But I'm gonna trail this at VWAP on SMCI. Like it's still what I'm considering here is, you know, your inside range, market's breaking lower, it's putting in a higher low, made a bottom yesterday. It's already run it once, so I'll be happy if we get the low, but I don't want this to break VWAP and try to turn this into a loser. And you just pulled up USO, I believe, and Boyle, yeah, it's refusing to actually break higher with that trend up in USO. It feels like it wants to go, but I can be patient. We're only 20 minutes in, nothing too crazy. Some of those smaller cap energy names that I thought would be in play, like the Battles, like the INDOs, they're slowly grinding higher, but nothing crazy. I feel like if these just start, Indo would be another example, if these get a little bit too extended on what is incredibly light volume, there could be a trend pullback trade there as well. Oh, and one more that we didn't get to. Well, I did, but SoFi is seemingly going to test the Muddy Waters low at that 1650 level. It's about 1% away, 2.5% down now on SoFi, and it looks like it wants to double tap this 1650 bottom. Not likely just going to sit on the bid, but I've got my alerts, I got my level 2 up. We get down to that triple bottom, going to look for a bit of a reversal to the long side. The market's not looking incredibly good. I want to try to hold SMCI for that low if it can get there, but I have to remember right now it's a little bit relatively strong. And when you're in a name that's relatively strong, the market catches any kind of a bid, and this turns into a potential breakout trade.
Yeah, I was going to, I know Tesla's trying to hold the view up a little bit here. And I don't want to, like, look, we were initially short. Short is what the word I'm looking for. Hello. Was initially short Tesla. And then all of a sudden it just completely, it did collapse pretty good, but it's collapsing right now. And I don't really know what's up with that. We're going to try to go long here off VWAP and off of a level that's been holding right here at 382. So let's just give this a little bit of a shot. It is a nice move downside right there. The market is obviously the biggest worry for me right now because it looks like we're trying to break lower on the market. I don't know what was going on there. It looks like we'll might lose both ways. If this breaks 381.75, then we're out the other way right now. But it's back to flat. I mean, this is not, we're not throwing around huge amounts of share sizes here on this name, as it definitely is trying to figure itself out. But I'm trying to go long now off 382. Maybe let me give it just a little bit more room there. 381.40. And now it might break all the way to the downside. 381.50, I was going to say. Here it comes in again. It's so frustrating because we were long, we were short, and now it looks like we may take the L long here on Tesla. But yeah, the market looks like it's going to be a short. We may have to find a name. We may have to go back to Palantir. A name that's relatively weak right there in the market is probably the key for today. Oh, that's so sad, man. We were $3 or $4 in the money on this
Bitcoin's
one
at 70.
At this point. Yeah, okay, Bitcoin's coming down. It's the market. I mean, we're going to lose this on Tesla in a minute, but the market right now is bleeding to the downside. So just be pretty careful here with some of your longs, guys. I mean, we may have just avoided a knockout there on Tesla, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we just hit almost exactly 70K on BTC, on Bitcoin, I should say. So, you know, IBIT's pretty much at that low. Good thing you have to trade with stops. I mean, is what it is. It was trying to break that trend to the upside, but it does not. I'll look for a similar thing if it can hold the 70,000, which it has, at least for now. You can see we're barely holding on to it, 70,100, and we're trying to catch a little bit of a bid. So if we get any bottoming tail candle, or if IBIT has a bottoming tail candle, even a sideways consolidation, I doubt that's what will happen here. I think we'll just get a bottoming tail and look for another salvo into the long. Energy is not the jam today. It's just a chop fest, and I don't think that's going to hold. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think we're going to have just this ridiculously gentle USO uptrend. I think we're going to have some kind of a spike. We'll keep our ear to the ground for news, but I'm just waiting for the trend to break. And once it does, I want to try to pounce on this and or Boyle if I can. But all you're seeing is it's up 4%, and when we sat down, it was 2%. Right. And it's like this really slow program style glide higher here on USO more than anything else. That can't. There's just no way that holds forever.
I'm trying here, man. Like, I just don't know if we're gonna go, man. Like, I just bought a little bit more, got some out at 82s there just for flats. Shoot, man. I just thought it was okay. Here it goes. Okay, I was gonna say I feel like it might wanted to go there. We'll take a bid out at 40 a couple times. So now we're 40 cents in the money, and I don't know, man. Like, what do I do right now? Honestly, like, asking that question, sort of just to everybody out there. The market, I don't know if it wants to rally. Does Tesla actually want to go back up? What are you guys doing in the chat right now? Are you guys long or what? ONDS, people talking about. We can get the visualizer up and see what's going on with what you guys are trading as well. Yeah, ONDS right now. Good hold of $10. Actually, I think we talked about this $10 level yesterday on ONDS, and it does hold right there, $10. Now up to 11 in change. Let's see if that one wants to keep the momentum higher today. Only up 1.3%, but better than the market that's down 1%. And see, this is what I'm saying, man, asking for a friend. Like Tesla there, good thing we got out of something up there at 382.50 or 40s there, 30s more like it, because here comes the break lower on TSLA. There we go. We can't win, man. There today. It tried to go. We got out of some and then out again. So sort of another flattish trade there for Tesla, maybe even a little bit down on that last move. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here on USO. This is nothing massive, but I think maybe something worth noting. I'm seeing reports that the U.S. is going to be releasing its 2026 to 2027 biofuel blending quotas. This week, energy supply concerns raised since the Iran war have reportedly not changed the biofuel mandate plan. So regardless of these concerns here with oil and with energy, since conflicts in Iran have risen, looks like the U.S. is not concerned that these energy supply issues are going to be changing the biofuel mandate. Again, just a report for now. I will see you guys in 5 minutes for the Richmond Fed Composite Index release, if not earlier, if there's like news or anything. Back to you.
Yeah, it's like almost like maybe the number, it's not a big number, but maybe on the other side of 10 o'clock, we'll get another 15-minute candle in and things can maybe make a little bit more sense. I mean, right now, you're just looking at the Nasdaq breaking lower. I keep looking up. Bitcoin, it's trying to hold 70,000, but the market is continuously breaking these lows. If we don't eventually hang on to the overnight lows, and this is a 60-minute chart, by the way. I said 15. I should show you the 15. My black chart's a 15. On this 15, if we can hold that bottom and get a reversal, I think that could be a spot to look for the bounce play. But right now, the Nasdaq not cooperating, certainly led, I don't want to say led by, but it's seemingly led by Microsoft down this 2 points. It's the software names that are taking it on the chin. You have some of the chip names, like Micron was taking it on the chin. You're right back at some of these lows here on Microsoft. Just want to double check Micron. Oh, Micron's bouncing at least. Okay, well, if some of the chips can catch a bid, that's a little bit different. Maybe it's starting to look a little bit better out here. And for myself, I guess MCI might have it off the top, but it's not at that low. the longer the market sits at the lows without SMCI breaking this channel to the bottom, the more likely. I don't want to reverse long in this. I think sometimes that's over trading, but it is relatively strong, and it's going to be green on the day for sure. I know some people were looking at Palantir earlier on, and some of those small caps were going. What was that one that halted? It was UGO. Was it URGO or UGRO? UGRO. Urban Grow.
UGRO.
Yeah, this one's still under pressure. If we had Luis Barbado on, he'd be telling you this is a short, and I couldn't necessarily agree with him. It halted down and did not get any kind of a dead cat bounce. It's actually holding underneath the halt level. So even the small cappers don't want to give you guys a win. Throw it in the chat. Like, what's a small capper or something that's actually strong here today? I haven't found it. It's a random penny stock PAVS.
I'm all right. Just looking here. All right, so we are back into. Just shout out to Fabian over there. I have to scroll that all the way to like 25% to the chat to get the view on it properly. So you can come have a look at this in a second, but that is just what it is. So it's fine. We do have the chat open for everybody. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, anything like that, we can now see all the chats amalgamated into one. So shout out to Fabian and everybody for doing that. All right, man. It's a dollar club right now, but like I don't have any hair, so I can't pull it out. But like I was thinking, if I did have some, I wouldn't have any anymore. This is part of the problem, and that is now Tesla's finally starting to go up. We did get stopped out. I bought it right back and was thinking, like, you know what, man? Honestly, $1 back and forth on Tesla. I know it's
What the pound?
like I'm trading with more shares, so like, you know, you have 300 shares and lose $1. I mean, $300, like it's not, you know, like a great start to anybody's day to do stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna have to give it a little bit more room, and if it winds up taking me out and we take a bigger hit than maybe we were expecting to, then that is what it is, because we got to give this one a little bit of room to go. I was just thinking to myself, like, if I'm gonna use the 200 period moving average and actually talk about that, then I'm gonna try to layer into it down there, and then that be the spot where we want to break out. And, you know, I can take a little bit less shares here and try to hold for bigger moves instead of just stopping out, because then when this kind of a move happens right now and we're in the money $1, obviously if I still had, you know, the max default down there, we would be, you know, much more probably even green. Well, actually we now are green on Tesla. And I think that that's part of the story that I was trying to get at here in not as many words. If you can trade less shares and not pull the trigger too fast, you can withstand these little dips. And then hopefully, if you're right in your position, then you can be part of these said rips. So we are now positive there, quite nicely positive now on Tesla, just by following this kind of simple rule. 10 seconds to a number. Let's go to Adara.
We're reading on Richmond Fed Composite Index here. -8 is the forecast. -10 was the prior print. That's going to be for the month of March. Just waiting for this number to come in. I'm not seeing it yet, so once I get that, I'll let you know. But worth noting here, S&P Services and Composite PMI at 945, both markedly lower than expected. S&P Manufacturing PMI higher than expected. So kind of a mixed look there. Still not seeing this number here for that Richmond Fed Composite Index. We'll go check back in a minute. In the meantime, let's take a look at this market. Nasdaq bouncing off of the lows here. And we'll take a look at the S&P 500, see if it is doing the same. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties. Again, Nasdaq bouncing off lows. SPY also bouncing off lows here as we do have the market digesting, economic numbers and tons of news coming out of the Middle East when it comes to oil. USO pulling back a little bit from these intraday highs, that 115.50 level, clearly a bit of a sticking point. Oil, these headlines include, there's been quite a few, but they do include a report from Tasnim in Iran suggesting that looks like we could be having it's the first boat, specifically a Thai boat, passing through the Strait of Hormuz. There's also reports suggesting that Iran is willing to allow people to pay for access to passage through the Strait of Hormuz. A lot of these different tech plays on watch here is NVDA, ORCL, another one to look at here, MSFT. We know Bank of America weighed in on quite a few of these plays, so a lot of this tech and AI sector going to be on watch today, but a lot of the market in general just pushing lower to start the session, trying to push higher. Tesla, a notable exception here, strong to start the day, and now trying to get back higher.
Thanks, Adara. Now it's $1, $2, $3, almost $4 right now in the money on Tesla. So, Hey, man, we found a spot. We bought it. There goes Tesla, man. It's going to be, for me, the big winner of the day. Thankfully, we made it back. We are now very, very green on TSLA. And again, it's just like a change a little bit there of mentality and getting lucky with the stock. I mean, it absolutely pops like crazy. All right, we're going to go to Adara quickly, and then we got to go back to Neil.
Yeah, sorry, guys. That number populated late, so I do apologize. I was late to get it to you guys. 0 was the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index print compared to the estimate of -8 and the prior print of -10. So actually higher than expected. Again, 0, but we were expecting -8 here. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. And you might have been able to notice that the markets have been pretty active lately. And for traders, this environment creates opportunities, and big moves can mean more setups and more momentum. But to really take advantage of those conditions, you need two things. You need discipline and you need access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing the strategy and managing their risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, then visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on screen and get 10% off. Shout out to Trade the Pool. And thank you for 70 finally holding on Bitcoin. So on IBIT, it's like 39.6 something. Maybe like 61 or 62, I think is the actual 70,000 level. But it did do a double bottom here and curled. Finally got a green candle. I'm looking for the retracement back into VWAP. It's downward trending, so want to play it back into the volume weighted average price. I did catch a trail out on SMCI. Ooh, well, at the time I liked it a little bit better because I saw the bounce coming back in. So I'm like, oh, market's bouncing and flipped into the long and IBIT, so that makes sense to trail this out of this consolidation. But SMCI could still be heading lower, and I might have to go back over to it again. But for now, Bitcoin holding that 70K. USO and the energy names broke that long upward trend and replacing it with a slow downward trend. So we're not really getting big acceleration, but it has broken trend and is heading underneath the volume weighted average price. This is obviously, I'm really glad that we didn't end up taking the Boyle long when this one was going. So it kind of is what it is. It never really broke out regardless. This turns into potential, like yesterday, short underneath VWAP if that's just the way that we're going to go. The best sector, we have a poll up, which is the best sector to trade right now. EV is a sector. Tesla, EV, XLE, energy, BTC, crypto. This is a tech, EV, crypto, or energy. I'd say sector. Right now, I'd say energy. I think that's kind of an easy play. But today, it hasn't been much of anything, if we're being honest. Energy hasn't really moved much, unless you had the pre-market long. That's been about it.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Nothing really right here.
Wait till we get one headline.
I mean, we're pretty excited here with Tesla, man. I mean, this is 350. I don't know what sector this is. But consumer discretionary, I don't know. Well, let's have a quick look at the sector.
What is consumer discretionary?
Whoops. Okay, good. I thought I closed it right there. This is utilities. See ya. All right, so right into here, let's have a quick little look to see what is happening in sort of the broader markets. Again, Eli Lilly down 0.8, not a great day for them. Walmart up, Costco down. There's our Tesla. Yeah, consumer durables there for Tesla. Ford, GM. So really the only stock doing anything there. We could check out Rivian in a couple seconds. NVIDIA, Apple, Google, Tesla. Okay, just having a look here. Communications. We can check out some Netflix as well. There's Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. Netflix, I think, is going to be more in the electronic technology, maybe technology services. There it is right there, 0.94. Wow, this is not a good space today. Look at this, man. CRM down 4.6. CrowdStrike down 5%. Yuck. This is the thing. Palantir down 4%. Adobe down 3%. CrowdStrike, probably PanW. We talked a little bit about some of those names going together. Fortinet's in there as well. Datadog down 5.5%. What the hell's going on? Oh, there it is. There's Palo Alto. So CrowdStrike down 5%. Palo Alto down 4%. Intuit, not a good one. Man, the software names today look like they're getting spanked, and that's why you want to look into some of these things as we, I'm only looking right now at, obviously, yeah, AppLovin's going to be a part of that talk as well. 385 570 high of the day is where I'm waiting right now for Tesla. But you know what? Let me take a piece out right now at 26s. Okay, there it is. We still are waiting for that 370, 380, 570 area coming into play. Hopefully right now for Tesla, as that's going to be a big good one. Let me just check out, is CrowdStrike under 400 again? Because yes, okay, so just happening there today. Yeah, oh, IGV is what I want to look at. This is your software names, you know, so there it is. Wow, down 4%. I don't know, Adair, we might have missed something here because this is a big move down for software names. Was there like OpenClaw 2 or something announced today?
Circle?
Yeah, Circle down 10% as well.
Circle's going to go SF.
Are we going to Adair? Yes, okay, then let's go.
I mentioned the DeepSeek thing that we were talking about. DeepSeek maybe looking into OpenAI, or sorry, not OpenAI, AI agents that came at around 9:45, but the software drop had already happened. That is literally all that I am seeing. I have been looking into it. If I see anything else, I will let you know, but it does just look like kind of a software sector related move to the downside. I do want to mention some names that are not that week. And unfortunately for probably a lot of people, they're kind of all spready. But ASML, really nice push to the upside. This is only up like 1%, but making new intraday highs as we speak, and you cannot say that about a lot of names today. ASML and also LITE, Lumentum, this name's been on watch as of late. They were in that, like they're in that optoelectronic space or opto photonics. So they were a nice look with NVIDIA as GTC last week. LITE up more than 5% today. Back to you.
Yeah, I like that stock, ASML, but we might have mentioned Circle, but there's nothing, that's the worst one of them all. 9% to the downside is Circle. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit nasty. Just got, we're halfway to VWAP, but the market's also already at VWAP. So we waited for our spot to be able to get in. BTC, if it's not gonna get all the way to the volume weighted average price, I'm gonna take one more leg out in here. Because if we reject VWAP on the futures, then we could be easily heading back in for a resumption of either even if it's the chop trade, then you're just sitting inside of the range, or you kind of resume a little bit of the downward move that we've had, because the early move has been downward trending. So you want to make sure you ring the register in here. I'm going to ring the register one more time, then try to hold a VWAP on IBIT. Thankfully, able to get it back after the first initial long didn't work out, but still want this to get all the way into 40 ideally.
What's up, Adair?
Yeah, Circle actually had a positive catalyst this morning. Some kind of Africa-related expansion with NVIDIA. So, like, you'd think that expansion, NVIDIA, all of these words would be positive. This came out around 8 a.m. I didn't really mention it at the time because the stock didn't really move. But CRCL, nothing negative to explain this drop. I'm going to keep looking into this software space.
Well, there's something going wrong there.
All right. Yeah, no, maybe the catalyst just wasn't that major, and there, like you mentioned, there's something else under the hood there. Oh, hood. Maybe I got to go look at Robin Hood there. Wow, 386.30, man. Yesterday we took $5 or $6 on Tesla, and there it is again right there as we'll go slappy on Tesla. Just so you guys know, my share back and forth, about 20% left. So still a decent amount. We're pretty happy with that one. We said ETHA, and we haven't looked at this yet because we've been trading a lot. We're going to have to look here. We talked about 16 as being the low, somewhere where we were thinking about buying. It does come in a little bit. Wow. I mean, Tesla's making a new high right now. And the market's back above VWAP, so that's nice. Right there, 16.1. So it didn't get quite as low there. I know Neil's been on crypto, but I just wanted to look at Ethereum right there to have a quick little look. I mean, you know, and this is what's hitting on my scanners right now, which is why, oh, there's Mara, SMH, BMNR, ARM. Let's have a quick look at ARM right now. So just so you guys know, like, not just, you know, trading by the seat of my pants, although it seems like that maybe sometimes. All right, ARM right now, let's see if there's an indicator there. It looks like a VWAP touch is what I mean, that's basically all the indicators are, sometimes 200 periods and whatnot. We have a couple different scanners going. But right there, ARM hits VWAP and coming back down 1% today is ARM. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the, yeah, I mean, I always try to zoom back out to see if there's anything. Remember we talked about it, like support and resistance levels. So we're right, I mean, 138.50 is too far away to do anything. 50-period moving average, 136.50, and nothing really on the downside. So for me, for ARM, I mean, look out for this 136.50 area. If you're day trading, I think that would be the spot where you start to get short, and then, you know, breaking through 137 might be your out. But for right now, for ARM, and I'm just talking my own scanner there. It's not something that I'm necessarily looking at. All right, nice little pullback here.
By the way, that strength, the strength that you're seeing in ASML that Adara mentioned, just think about the entire cohort. It's the dudes that make the machines that make the chips. It's ASML, it's Lam, and it's also Applied Materials, so AMAT. All three of those are upward trending. It's not just going to be ASML. Big time, I don't want to say it's a big time shift, but you got to look for where that relative strength might be. Lam, great stock. Again, I don't own shares of Lam. I actually own shares of ASML, not the other two, but it is worth mentioning. I saw in the chat they were mentioning it as well, that there's a lot of strength there. And also Dell. Oh, did we forget about Dell? The other side of the SMCI trade is Dell strength, right? They caught a bid on the day that SMCI got embroiled in that scandal, caught up in it, let's just say, the chip smuggling scandal, and this is also looking relatively strong. But I think we're pulling back off that VWAP, which to me was the reason we took an extra leg out of IBIT, and then we just broke the low. So again, you've got to try to take the profit when you're going against the grain. That's par for the course. Ooh, I don't know if SMCI is going to be a reload opportunity. Oh, wow. I should not have trailed out of that one. I put the trail in, we're underneath the volume weighted average price, and I didn't give it to VWAP. Should have given that one to VWAP. Now you're going to get that low in SMCI. A win's a win, but obviously it should have been a heck of a lot better. Got to look for a re-entry and continue to short the pops. That's all you can do. If it's trending up, you wait for the next available dip or consolidation, and the next one, and then the next one. In this case, instead of getting out, should have been maybe even adding to that position. But it's still early. Still plenty of room.
All right. Shout out to Bravely there on TikTok. Unfortunately, Bravely, I can't really, on the things that the screen caps that you said, I can't really see, the viewers and all that kind of stuff about who's loving and who's liking everything. But I want to thank everybody there. We got someone gifted a money gun. So thank you so much for that one there. Bravely, if you could just maybe put into the chat sort of the username, and that way I can easily identify that as well. There's been a couple gifts there. Thank you so much to everybody on TikTok, as he just mentioned. So thank you so much, man. There's been 3 or 4 different gifts, and I was tagged in them. So I just want to say thank you to everybody here on TikTok for watching us. We are following the stream and following the chat. So shout out to all of y'all over there, and I hope that some of you are able to have this entry there as well. And we just got out of another piece, man, as it broke through 385. So looks like we are starting to violate some of these VWAPs and whatnot. Like we said, we had about 20%. We have 15% now left, as we did get another piece, 5% more out there. So 2 more sort of shots, or 3 more shots of 5% each is what I'm trying to do on this. So, we definitely held a good amount all the way to the upside. Like that was, see, it's this little move where I'm trying to change. So out a little bit there on VWAP, we have to, man, because we got run over there. Well, we got short and then got mad, and then we got out, stopped out, went red on it, or close enough to flat on it. Then we bought it back, and now it's leading the way for me. But definitely looking for a reload if we can get it, but not until in and around until where we're long already. So maybe a little bit of a boost up. I think I'll put another offer around 385, see if we can grab that there as well. Okay, Adam, you were long, but now you talked about it, but there it goes. Breaking now down through 70,000 is BTC. And just looking at the US dollar, see if there's any sort of strength. In the US dollar, and of course, no. With Bitcoin going down, I thought maybe we could have some strength in the US dollar, but it looks like it's going the other way. US dollar weakness a little bit right here, right now. All right, more news. What's going on, Adara?
Yeah, just a couple headlines I want to mention. UAL on watch. We know we had UAL earlier announcing a couple different things, including they're going to be having like the largest ever 2-year airline or plane purchase of any airline ever. That came out earlier today. Now we have comments from CEO of UAL coming through here. He's with CNBC saying that he thinks that fares will continue to go up in line with oil prices. Nothing shocking, but just be aware. Looks like UAL CEO was just on CNBC. Furthermore, kind of an interesting headline here with oil. USO is going to be on watch as we get reports from Xinhua, so I guess like local Chinese media, that Wang Yi of China is telling Iran that talks are better than war. So China apparently wanting Iran to have some kind of negotiation here with the U.S.
All right,
yeah, it's a chop fest, though. We finally broke trend on USO in here, but it couldn't hold that prior. It couldn't hold that prior bar low. Did I just hear Intel's at the high and the market's at the low? That doesn't make No, it's got to be a different stock. So USO finally broke that trend, but it could not hold that prior bar. So it's still looking like we haven't really gotten anything good going. The green needs.
Have you seen Softy?
Still?
I mean, I know
it's the IVG, but it's not just Microsoft. Like, forget about that. When I thought,
look at Palantir.
I was freaking out because you saw like, CrowdStrike down 5 points, Palo Alto down 4 points.
CrowdStrike's probably getting worse, and so all these names probably getting worse.
Zscaler.
Look at Palantir. I mean, Palantir was like, yeah, buddy, this was the number one.
I mean, up today.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like throw shade at myself here. Palantir right now, and this is part of being a trader, man. You got to be honest with yourself. I had it written down as a long. I mean, we talked about yesterday's momentum. Look for dip buys. Yeah. How about look for like no dip buys? We tried to get that level, and look, I mean, to follow your rules is what it's all about. I mean, to get stopped out at 159 when it breaks is fine by me. I mean, having this nice move up, we were right away thought, okay, well, our long on Palantir is right. It went upside. It's just we didn't catch it. Fine. So let's come back into the open price. So we took the long there. I'm taking that every time. And I'm surprised I didn't take more shares, to be honest with you. Although we had about 3 units by the time it all ended, so it does hurt at the end of the day. But there's and then right there at the low of the day as well, and then again at the level that we wrote down 159. But then we gave it about 20 cents, man. Our break was 158.85. Once that broke, then that's about 15 cents. Then that was it, and I'm so glad that we didn't like lower our estimates there for where Palantir might break. So just really glad that we had written down that 159. And again, like how we kind of came up with that was sort of just, and maybe this was the problem, it was kind of like a random spot. We had some giddy up right there, and then that's sort of what kicked it off right here, 158.50 into 159, 160 into yesterday's close. So that was a little bit of an issue there. And maybe we didn't have the right pricing, so be it on that one. And I mean, like we just said, remember here, we said we had 15% left. Well, then we just got a bump into 385.35, so we got another 5%. So now I told you we have 3 more moves, right? And so there was one out right there. I have another one for upside, and then possibly, I don't want to punch out, don't want to break lower. We only have 10% left, but maybe just holding that and see what happens down near the lows. And if we give some back on this, man, we give some back. I mean, I don't know what else to do. That's sort of part of the game here in trading is trying to do the best based on the information that you have. All right, so NVIDIA lows. I mean, we want to go short, man. Anything near VWAP, this is starting to get low as well. I mean, I don't know if we want to go short until we're actually out of this Tesla trade, but I think that's the right thing to do. And then instead of just picking a name, Neil and I already brought this to your attention, man. The IGV is what's down right now, and this is potentially starting a little bit of a move back upside. So some of the beat up names in this space, we looked at the cybersecurity names. PanW was down 4, still down 4. CrowdStrike was down 5. I'm going to imagine something similar. Yeah, still down those levels as well. So these are 2 big names that are getting hit as well as Adobe. We saw getting hit today. Like Palantir's not a software as a service name. I mean, sure, they have a software and it's a service. I get it, but it's a lot different than people spending, $100 a month on Adobe. We just got the announcement yesterday that
it's wrapped up in the group.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say. Like
for everybody is the mentality of the market right now.
When you're selling that index, Palantir on the IGV, and I'll look it up for you guys on Gemini, but it's a percentage of the IGV. So I mean, part of that getting hit to the downside is exactly that. I actually think Palantir's a long once people start to figure out that this stock probably needs to be bought. What about 154 break? That would be a change here. We haven't broke the 25 period moving average the whole way down, except for when it was a short right into there. So that would be a good little level. I'm looking at 154 long on Palantir, but I am going to find out the percentage there in the IGV because it's definitely weighing it down in my opinion.
Oh, there's just so many. You know what? We've been talking so much about weak names, and we're giving you like a smattering of chip-related names that were strong: Lam, ASML, and AMAT. Marvell is another one as well. Marvell is actually up 1.4%. So there's at least 4 or 5 chip-related names that are looking really strong and actually potentially breaking out here. So there's Marvell. We already talked about
Marvell?
Yeah, we already talked about Lam and ASML, and I'm always forgetting AMAT. AMAT's the one that I'm kind of forgetting. But into this market weakness, you're seeing the strength in maybe some places that you aren't as used to. As well. So forget about Circle, at least for now. Circle doesn't look very good. It is looking pretty nasty. The financials.
Here it is right here. Look at it. Before we go to Adara, I didn't realize it was number 1. So
number one holding.
there it is. So I was just.
I just assumed it was Microsoft.
So did I.
See, sometimes they make.
So here are the names getting hit right now today. I mean, we didn't even look at Salesforce. I forgot about that. You mentioned AppLovin.
Well,
we did
I try
mention
not to look at Salesforce.
Yeah, we did mention Intuit. There's CrowdStrike as well. We mentioned Adobe. So, this is the IGV. So I like pretty much all of these names. It's just a matter of not the right space, not the right time for that. But that's part of it there. So watch out here, man. If that space gets going a little bit, we could definitely hit the long on the ETF itself. Or I'm just thinking like Palantir is getting wrapped up in this and probably shouldn't. 154 break. I think I'm going to go long on Palantir. And by the way, whoop, there it is. All right, I'm going to get out of 2.5% here at 15s if we can get it. I don't want to get out of it all in case there is a bigger move up there for Tesla. What's up, Dara?
So I want to start with not a small cap, and I don't want to say this is in and of itself the reason that the market is dropping a lot of these software names, but I did see some people in the chat mention it, so I thought I'd mention it. Apparently Anthropic this morning releasing the computer use feature for Claude, which will now allow Claude to automatically control a computer to perform tasks. So some people are saying that this feature is pretty massive. It's like the open claw killer. Either way, Claude with some more agent-related news. I'm seeing some people say that could be why a lot of these software plays are down. Again, not confirming or denying, just saying that this did happen and this could be part of the sentiment when it comes to the drop in a lot of these software plays. Let's talk here about these small caps, starting with PAVS. Paranovus Entertainment, this name has rallied in the past. Today's catalyst involves the company filing yesterday with the SEC to reveal a stock sale update. They've ended a stock sale agreement. Now, I think what matters here with PAVS is the float and the market cap and the short float, because these are all going to be significant. With PAVS, you've got a market capitalization here of $380,000. You've got a float of about 70,000 shares, and I checked multiple sources. I'm seeing a short float of greater than 500% for PAVS, so be very careful with this name. FEED, Feed, Enview Medical, this one, friend of the show, interviewed the CEO once here on this show. Enview Medical expanding up to 39, or expanding their reach to 39 U.S. hospitals with this Detroit deal. Just over a $2 million market cap, float of 840,000 shares. Just over 21% of those shares are sold short. UGRO, last but not least, Urban Grow. This is a day two move. Float on this one is going to be 670,000 shares. So all of these names, pretty small floats, guys. Market cap, $5.5 million. Short float, just over 5%. Back to you.
You know the problem with trend breaks and like VWAP breaks and of the such is that sometimes a lot of people are looking at the same indicator you are at the same time, or just the sentiment at the same time. So when something triggers, like, hey, we're back under VWAP and we're breaking the uptrend on Intel, which is not one of the chip names that is strong, and you try to punch through, just as Adara was talking, you don't get it. Like this actually flushed almost a full percentage point, because it's, every 40 cents is going to be a percent on Intel. So if it comes back up, it's still a trend break. It's still an under VWAP trade. I'm going to try the short. We'll get to Super Chat in a quick little second. Boyle is trying to finally break this downtrend. It did so like right in here at 9 o'clock, but that was a little bit too early. But if it breaks the trend in the open market, we'll look for that one to try to get back in. Energy has been kind of, I don't know, chopping around a little bit here. And we got Danny's Boy. I don't have the page up if we can get the Super Chat. Danny's Boy's Bear Market Emporium. Can we throw that up, Andre? That Super Chat. Hey, boys, maybe take a peek at NTR. Fertilizer doesn't stink today. Nutrien, huh? Why not? Nutrien, CF, probably doing pretty well. If Nutrien's up, I would make the assumption that CF is probably doing pretty well as well. Oh, yeah, 50-period bounce. Power that one up. If a major moving average hits and you like it, you buy it. Nutrien bouncing clean off of it. I think that's, you get the relief, you get some of the relief rally because of the pullback, and you're going to be back into vogue. What's CF doing here today? I'm going to make, again, sometimes you make these assumptions because you've seen it in the past. What if there's no way Nutrien's going to be up 4 points and CF isn't up as well? So that's also up 4.5% and not bouncing off moving averages. I just think CF's been a little stronger. And Nutrien's fine; they're both really good today. But CF Industries been a little bit stronger more recently. But there's always a bull market somewhere because it's looking quite bearish so far today. Nasdaq down a point.
Yeah, Oracle down 4%. We got that question yesterday. Yes, what's up,
Was
Nick?
it looking like a bottom?
Oracle?
Well, no, that wasn't the question. Is Oracle looking?
Oh yeah, yesterday, yeah, and we asked it, and we asked Adara, and she.
I said that daily looked kind of rough, and again, my thesis on Oracle isn't even technical, but I was still a little bit cautious on that. Yeah, so again, I'm gonna stop yapping about Oracle now.
No, it's okay.
All right, we have a button for that.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Thank you, Adara, for all of that. You can yap on about that if you want. It's no problem. I mean, we tend to yap on about things. There was something here in the chat that I wanted to yap on about. Oh no, where was it? I can't remember what it was right there. Oh, it was. Oh, Nick W mentioned that he really liked the Marvell long, and I know Neil called it up. And yeah, in a market that's going to the down. Here it is, right here. Shout out. Yeah, I don't have it right now in this particular trade. But I do like Marvell. I don't really trade it too much on the show, but I've traded it a couple times.
Its volume's not always.
Yeah, no, it's but again, up 1%. So yeah, I mean, look, it's not, it's just a play. I mean, I really have been liking this name. I have not bought anything in this area, right? Every time it dips down, you guys know that I've been buying this Marvell trade down here. I just think it's the guts. It's sort of the system behind the GPUs and photonics, copper, like all this kind of stuff that we've talked about in the past about what's necessary for these data centers. Marvell custom ASICs as well, similar to Broadcom in nature, not in scale. Broadcom scales much more than Marvell, but Marvell's PE is, again, the last time, I mean, let's double check it, because I was going to say it's in the mid-20s, but I don't want to be wrong on this, Marvell, and then everyone lets me know about it. Yeah, so it still is. So there it is, man. The current PE is 29, forward PE is 23. I think that's pretty decent for the space. Broadcom might be a little bit better than that. Yeah, so Broadcom right there, 29 forward and current 62. So chopped in half. Marvell is half the price to earnings ratio of Broadcom. Broadcom, of course, people paying up for the opportunity. I mean, I really like Broadcom and Marvell. I think they can both win in this space. And I've just been talking about it. I mean, look, it wants to break out in a weak market where things are looking lower and everyone's nervous about their portfolio. If you only had Marvell, I mean, you're pretty much, if you bought this last year at this time, I mean, we can't say that for too many of these names that are out there right now, that's for sure. March, here it is. March 26th. How did I just go right to that date? Let alone all the way down here. But, even if you just randomly pick a time here, $65, go back 1 year, you're at 91. So it's actually done quite well. And I think it does a lot better moving forward. And there it is, man. We take another fill. As we get 385 right there, 385.15 on Tesla. Waiting for 386.20s, man. We're waiting for the high of the day again. Maybe we can get that. We said we had a few more bullets to fire off. So we are doing that right now with with Tesla upside on that. So that's the only trade that I'm in right now, but I think we just discussed Marvell. We really like that. And is gold dipping down again? Gold had a nice, I was looking at silver short, not quite there yet. Gold okay. Yeah, gold is pretty strong, 0.24. I think silver was actually almost 1% the last time I checked silver. No, it's fairly flat. What am I talking about? Okay, so this is why silver came up to me, was a little interesting. There's the 200 period. We were looking short silver earlier. Maybe this is a nice area to go short. Would rather near 63 short there, sort of that level that we dropped off of in the pre-market. 63 short for SLV. What's up, Adara?
Just keep an eye here on USO. Foreign Minister of Iran, Arghachi, saying that he explained to his Malaysian counterpart the possibility of non-war-related ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So once again, we're hearing from Iran, mind you, that they're open to these ships or certain ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. We heard earlier reports that a Thai ship had already passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and we also heard reports that Iran's potentially considering taking money to allow certain ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. I have no clarification on these reports, but I did want to mention here again, Foreign Minister of Iran explaining to his Malaysian counterpart that there could potentially be non-war related ships allowed to pass through the Strait. Also, and this is, I couldn't really see any move in any of these other gaming plays, but Epic Games just announced the layoff of 1,000 employees. I was trying to see if there was any other kind of move to look at here. Nothing massive. Tom Lee also looks like popping ORBS. So again, Tom Lee pumping ORBS on X 1 minute ago. ORBS is popping. He's comparing it negatively to VCX, it looks like. So VCX not moving too much. ORBS popping higher. Back to you.
Tom Lee owns ORBS?
No, he's just pumping it. And ORBS, I believe, is the one that I think it's Dan Ives that's affiliated with it. It's the WorldCoin one.
Yeah.
With Sam Altman. So, yeah, I guess Sam, basically Tom Lee just saying that this VCX has a stake in OpenAI and it trades at 25x MNAV. He's saying ORBS is actually 30% OpenAI and they trade at 1x MNAV. So ORBS, the comparable or the preferable pick according to, again, Tom Lee. He also quote tweeted Orbs in this post. So, like, obviously a little bit sketchy, just worth noting.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. No, I was curious because I didn't think he did. I didn't think that Tom Lee had, at least I had never heard of that. So you always want to make sure you got the real story there. Sometimes these guys pump some stocks and it's like, I'll pump yours, you pump mine. Phrasing. SoFi is going to get to that. It's going to get to this triple bottom. I'm calling it a triple bottom because, you know what? It's a quadruple bottom if we get down here. So since the Muddy Waters report, we are trending right back into that same low. We've hit 16.6, so we're now in spitting distance of 16.5. So whether it actually gets to that bottom to give a clean bounce or it can break the trend, I should draw a new one from the volume weighted average price. SoFi is going to be on my mind. We wait for it to get to that level. Like, you know, just because you look for it as a bounce off that level, it actually has to trade down there to be an entry. Intel's trying to hold underneath VWAP, so that broke trend. I missed the breakdown, so I'm kind of catching this one on the way back up instead of on the way down. But it's just the VWAP hold. If the market holds VWAP here and Intel can hold VWAP, again, broke the trend and heading into said downside. My goodness, Tom Lee is, yeah, he's the chairman of BM, like whatever, he's BMNR. He's also AMD too. Remember, the guy owns a boatload of AMD shares. BMNR is not really having that good of a day. Spoiler alert. I, for one, am shocked. BMNR is not having a good day today. What is? At least it's not Circle.
I mean, Tesla's having a good day, to be honest with you.
Circle's...
This is up 1%.
17%. 17%.
What?
Okay, you know what? Forget this. Intel just broke VWAP. This is like the reversion to end all reversions if it finally curls. Let's find a level let's find a level here. $100. On the daily, all you got's 100. On a 15-minute, not much on the 15 again till you get to like $100. Just waiting for this to zoom out here. Yeah, there's not much, but when you're down $20, I mean, the mean revert is also an SSR bounce as well. At Circle, this one takes a square for sure. Adara?
Yeah, I want to mention here, once again, I am not seeing a negative catalyst on this. In fact, the only kind of catalyst I'm seeing on this on social media are that a lot of people are talking about it. With CRCL, as I mentioned, there is actually a catalyst. They partnered this morning with SASI FinTech to expand their USDC in Africa. Now, I mentioned there's like an NVIDIA tie-in with this. That's because SASI FinTech is a business of Cassava Technologies. Cassava Technologies is related with NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA is invested in them. So that's like a very tangential 6 degrees of separation NVIDIA tie-in here with CRCL. Back to you.
What? That's way too...
Tangential?
Way too... I love that. Yeah. Way too much for me, man. All right, shout out to... thanks, Bravely.
Sure.
Shout out to Adrian Petrus and DJ Vinny there. Shout out to DJ Vinny, man. Jim Tan Laundry there on TikTok. DJ Pauly D, I think it was, there for Pauly. The Jersey Shore. So shout out to you guys watching there. They want to know about RBNE. Okay. Oh, Robin Energy. Okay. Here's a low float name, obviously. Yeah, it's on the list. 57 million shares here for RBNE. Is this what you're coming in for, Adara?
What did you mean?
RBNE.
No, I think I have something on Circle here. Let's talk about CRCL. So I looked into this a little bit on X. It was kind of buried because there's just been a lot of random posts about CRCL. But 11 hours ago, a woman named Eleanor Terrett posted, and this is just a report, but she basically reported here on some details that have emerged with regards to the latest legislative text outlining a compromise in stablecoin yield and rewards. According to an internal stakeholder that contacted this reporter, Eleanor Terrett, this proposal would prohibit platforms from offering yield directly or indirectly for holding a stablecoin in a manner that resembles a bank deposit. Seems like industry leaders think that this is a departure from previous discussions, and it's a, quote, a more narrow and restrictive approach towards crypto. So it looks like, long story short, according to Eleanor Terrett, who her pedigree is quite good. She's actually a journalist and co-host of a podcast called Crypto in America. Basically, she's out here saying doesn't look like industry stakeholders are loving the latest version of this crypto bill in the White House. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, obviously if there's somebody that knows what they're talking about, listen up. So that's not going to be good, man. If they can't hold, because a lot of the stable coins, you can stake them and you get like 3 or 4 or 5% APY on that, and you just got to make sure that that is what's going on. Yeah, RBNE, Adara. So.
Which one? RBNE?
Yeah, perfect. Up 65% right there today. Yeah, it looks like they did do some sort of a reverse split there to get above $1, maybe 4 to 1 there. And now we get to the downside. It looks like we're bouncing off.
They're buying their own stock too.
Oh, okay. Well, then that would probably be this story because
they're buying.
Okay, that's the story right there, as Neil just mentioned. So they're buying their own stock to stay above $1. So good move, honestly. Like, well. I mean, good move to trade off of. I mean, for the company there, I mean, if you're spending, it's kind of like throwing good money after bad or whatever that saying is right there for shareholders of RBNE. So be careful on this one, as it looks like it's, I would say probably on the way back in, but no halts or anything like that. 185. If you're just spending your own money on your own shares, that's obviously nice, but at the same time, what exactly does that mean? Is there sort of a lack of investment opportunities for them, why they're spending this money on themselves? But at the end of the day, it's helping the float rate. Now, I don't know how much or what kind of shares totals they're actually putting into themselves here, but RBNE up to 185.
It's 1 million of its common. So it's commencing a tender offer to acquire 1 million of its common stock at $3 a share.
Okay, $3 a share. So maybe there is some sort of a movement up there for RBNE. And thanks, and a big shout out to TikTok and everybody watching over there.
Yeah, and shout out to you. It's
mooning.
It is mooning. It seems like a really questionable one. We always like it when companies buy their stock when they think it's a discount. And it's a little bit different story when you're like a penny stock like that. We had a big reversal there just now in some of the energy names.
And the market's getting lower here.
Yeah, like USO just broke the volume weighted average price. Boyle's breaking the volume weighted average price.
USO went which way?
Up.
Okay.
Bitcoin just held the 50. It just held 70 again. Every single time it bounces off of 70, I'm taking the break. And then if we lose that 70 area, I'm going to be jumping out.
Oracle
but every single
4%.
time, I'm going to keep taking
go short Oracle.
But it just doesn't want to go. So like the first time, no. Second time, yes. Third time, looks like it's going to be a no. You say Oracle's breaking lower again?
No, I just like, no, it's not. But it's, Microsoft. I was just like, we got to go short Oracle. I mean, I was actually looking at Microsoft when I said that. And it was just like Microsoft right there just touched near the lows again. So I was just thinking like, because it's a $400 name, I was automatically just thinking about Oracle only being 150 and thinking about going short as well. This Palantir trade is cooked, man. This one is, I don't know. These guys are the ones going lower. Look at that. We were waiting to break this 25 period moving average to go long. Instead, that was at 54s. Instead, we could have just used it as our short cover, like get short until it breaks. Like use this as our reasoning for the short. What's up, Adara?
Before that, I have a couple headlines I want to mention. I will get to Sector Watch in a second here. For one, that RBNE, Robin Energy, it's an oil and gas play, so that could also be part of why this is strong today. Market cap only like $4.7 million, float of 2.7 million shares, short float about 12%. So decent short float, pretty small market cap there for RBNE, and it also is going to be an oil and gas play in addition to that buyback-related news. USO pushing higher. I'm not seeing any geopolitical catalyst for this yet, but just be aware, I'm just seeing reports as of a couple minutes ago that apparently there was a surge in oil and S&P 500 futures with $750 million in trades that occurred over 2 minutes. That was just before Trump posted that he was delaying strikes in Iran. So some people are speculating there could have been something kind of fishy there. That's all I'm seeing, and it does not explain the pop in USO, but kind of an interesting story nonetheless. Let's talk about these sectors. Unlike yesterday, where everything was strong across the board, we have a much more interesting and layered sector board today. Let's start with energy minerals, of course, very strong as we continue to see these tensions in Iran being digested and dissected. Utilities doing quite well as well. Feaster, NextEra Energy, and Constellation all to the upside. Consumer non-durables quite strong. Industrial services, process industries, communications And consumer durables, well, rather Tesla anyway, to the upside. Now, producer manufacturing, we've got AMAT up about 2%. We talked about ASML, which was at least initially pretty strong here as well. Now we get to the sectors that are a little bit more mixed. Health technology, kind of red here. Consumer services with some weakness of some of the larger components, including McDonald's and CSA, are actually going to be green today. Retail trade, very mixed. You've got Walmart, Costco, TJX to the upside, but Amazon and Home Depot to the downside. And then we get to these tech sectors, which are bright red. Technology services, as I mentioned, this could have to do with the fact that Claude is now, I guess people are saying it's going to be the OpenClaw killer with this new computer update that allows greater agent access to your computer. But either way, a lot of these SaaS or software names are sharply to the downside. Back to you.
Yeah, very sharply to the downside. And another fail of Bitcoin underneath the 70,000 level. So it's battled like 3 or 4 times off of this. Why is that Blue Ocean? By the way, Blue Ocean available to trade. You can trade just about anything on the markets in the after hours. Sharpen up when we eventually go 23.7. But we just lost that last break at the 70,000 level. If it ends up holding underneath and continues to trend down, the over/under was 70, so we tried the long. Only once worked over the 70 level. Looks like it could be trend down. Energy's heading back to the upside, so we jumped into Boyle. It's SoFi that's still gliding down to that low, that 16.5, where Muddy Waters. Oh, I'm presuming maybe that's where they covered the most of it. It's held that low for a while, so maybe that's where they're recovering. They're short. I have no idea. Maybe they haven't covered the short. Who knows? But we are still trending down into it. And until we break trend or at least test that 1650 outright, haven't popped into the long just yet. But it is getting very close. Like the trend line is really starting to threaten here on the 3-minute. Once it gets that break, it'll be long somewhere in here, stop there, kind of the usual for sure. And just to be clear, whoops, why is it still IBIT? There we go. SoFi, when you're talking day trade, just because it's holding the low since Muddy Waters, we lose 1650. The next support on SoFi is down in like the $12 or $13 range. Let's be real for a second. Like even when you catch these bounces for a trade, it does not mean anything has changed with regard to SoFi and its trend. Its trend is very much to the downside.
Yeah, SoFi. I think we had. No, it wasn't Mitch. Maybe there was. Oh yeah, position board is down. Mitch. Yeah, no. But someone, I don't know if it was you or someone last week, or forget who. Maybe it was Brian. Just talked about like you don't have to buy things on the way down, and it's just kind of like SoFi right now. We can look at as many levels as we want, but at the end of the day, it's not working out right now. And you know, if it's a long-term play, I mean, yeah, that's why you use different strategies for stocks that you like, and maybe it's a dollar cost average thing. Yeah, it's probably at some key levels right now. Silver, okay. We wrote down 63.50. We're getting close, man. That 63.50 right there, that was sort of the level that we had written down for silver up to 64. So I was actually thinking about taking the short right now at 63. Obviously, now that we're down 15 cents or 13 cents from that level, should have taken it. But I don't know, like I don't want to get too excited. The market just bumped higher there, and as did silver as well. So I was thinking about this sort of a short coming in for silver. If you like that call, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Again, remember, this is SLV. This is not spot silver. So it's not like $63 is going to have any sort of a situation behind it. If you want to look at silver, I can call that up. But we really like to look at SLV, and that's why when we're talking about the Nasdaq, I'll trade with the TQs. You didn't see me in that today. And then obviously when we talk about oil, we talk about USO. And then we obviously know that we can look at the physical contract themselves. And here at Real Trading, we do have, oh yeah, by the way, well, soon, let's look at who made all the money yesterday in a minute, actually, as well. We'll just change topics a little bit here from trading and go over to some money-making opportunities yesterday. But there's crude right now up 4%. So as we start to hear more and more about, hopefully, it's not a ceasefire, it's more a ceasefire against some of those oil and energy stations and the buildings and all the infrastructure there for the energy. We did hear that that was going to be a 5-day ceasefire. And that sort of created yesterday a lot of movement in oil, right? I mean, we had some big moves up and down all day yesterday. And even today, it seems like we're relatively controlled with seeing these bottoms here, looking to break back down below 91.50. So that's kind of where we're looking right now for crude and for oil as it's starting to break. And then we're using USO as the trading tool. So, just to have a look over there is something that I like to use as that, and we got a shout out earlier. Obi, myself, Neil yesterday, Boyle, things like that. So different things to look at. Let's have a quick look to see who was top dogs yesterday. And unfortunately, we always get asked like, oh, well, those are the top guys. Who are the least guys? I don't have that list, man. I mean, I wish I did there. Sharif said this is him up here, 61,000. Oh, he's the last one on here. There he is. No, he's just playing around. Shout out to Sharif over here. We've been on this list before. It's not like, we're not going to get on there again. We will. I'm not on here yesterday. There's $61,000, and this is the markets that were traded yesterday by the trader, right? And so these traders could be located anywhere except for the United States of America. There's Amex Canada, Nasdaq New York, 19,000 there. It looks like there wasn't much going on yesterday outside of North American markets. So. I wanted to talk about that. I just heard that in our ears. Swarmer, we just heard SWMR up 25%.
It's not dead yet, Sharif. Adventure Dog LA with a huge super chat. Thank you again, everyone in the team.
Adventure Dog is barking, boy.
Down to the penny, 76, 24, and 83 cents on Microsoft. Calls.
Yes.
How to practice gratitude, Neil and Sean. How do you practice gratitude in your personal life?
Wow.
Your trading mindset, if you do it at all. Every single day that you wake up, you should be thankful for I just feel like it's just an honor to be alive. It's an honor to live in a world where constantly there are more good people than there are bad in the world, no matter what kind of ridiculous headlines you see and how bad it seems. The truth of the matter is, and I mean quality and people who care about each other and love each other, we outnumber everybody else. Our community exemplifies that as far as I'm concerned. So it's humbling that we get to talk to you guys every single day and have such a warm and a generous community. I see people sharing ideas all the time. I see people answering questions that we might miss because, maybe we don't even know, man. Like I don't understand options, and we get a question about options, and I'll see one of our regulars sitting there answering the question, and that's fantastic. That's what you like to see. And you just got to do those daily acknowledgments, I think, whenever you get the chance. Trading is not an easy business, so you got to try to keep that positive attitude. And I want to thank you. First of all, congrats, but also want to thank you for your kind words. We do have, I think we might have some news coming, so we're going to go to Dara and we'll come right back.
Well, there's news first. So I am going to start with the news, and while I'm here, it's almost 10:50, so I'll just do money talks while I'm here. But yeah, of course, news is going to be the key. Let's talk here about MSFT. As we know, this one did get a pop, and congratulations to that individual with those calls. Now, why did it pop? I mean, we can't say for sure. The pop happened a little bit before this headline came through, but I'm just seeing that apparently Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that the biggest obstacle to expanding AI is persuading people to change the way they work. Nothing inherently market moving, but given that it is a comment from the CEO and that the stock just bounced a couple minutes ago, I think it is worth mentioning. Looks like we could be getting comments right now from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. We are getting comments from Iran's Revolutionary Guard, that I can tell you for sure. Iran's Revolutionary Guard's Navy saying that they forced a container ship by the name of Selene to turn back because they did not have a permit to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So they've indicated that they're interested in talking to certain areas, chiefly Malaysia, for allowing these containers through, but they said no to this Selene. I guess they did not have the permit to pass through. Furthermore, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy saying that crossing any ship through the Strait of Hormuz will require full coordination with the Iranian maritime sovereignty. Let's take a look here at the US dollar, which is kind of falling out of that uptrend. We talked about that a while ago, still making these lower highs, but finding some support yesterday. I mean, slightly lower low from that area of support that we found on Thursday. Last Thursday, that would be around 99. Low yesterday was going to be here at 99.8. But as of right now, trying to hold back above that 99 level. Now, again, it's going to continue higher. It looks like from a technical standpoint, you'd have to break above that 101 level, 100.1 rather, that we made yesterday, Monday, March 23rd. It is worth noting economic data today. We had a higher than expected Richmond composite index coming through. That was at 10 a.m. At 9:45 a.m. PMI, S&P manufacturing PMI higher than expected. S&P composite and services PMI lower than expected. So mixed PMI prints. Back to you.
Get hydrated, apparently.
Shout out to Hydration Nation. We have some pretty fun things. Shout out to everybody watching us on TikTok, on Instagram, on kick on. Wherever you're watching us, man, shout out to Rumble and everything like that. We want to give a big hi to everybody on YouTube. Hi, everybody. All right, look at this, man. We got another one out. There's another one. We get it out right there on Tesla as it comes right back up into 385. We sat there. We got to fill, so all good over there on Tesla. So far, so good on that little bit of a take there on TSLA. We'll wait. We now have 5% left, so end of that, we'll wait on Tesla. Actually, 7.5% left, sorry. We're using 2.5 percentage points as outs as we go. We do have something called What's for Lunch, so let's go figure it out right now. All right, yesterday's chicken parmesan actually wasn't that bad. It was those little pieces of chicken. I felt put some sauce, some cheese on. I thought it was okay. Considering today's flag, Indian.
Disappointed with it.
We haven't had Indian in a minute. I feel like ever since we've been doing the flag thing, I haven't ever said India.
Never.
All right, biryani chicken. Okay, here we go. With vegetables, steamed basmati rice with Thai mixed green salad. So all right, there we go, man. Biryani chicken.
Greens.
That's what it says. It also says steamed basmati rice, but I'm going to assume that's basmati.
Yeah, it's going to be
there, and then some, Thai mixed greens. So,
whoa,
what
just happened?
You tell me. There goes, nice move upside. I'm going to take a piece out on Tesla.
What just happened?
Something happened. There it goes, man. The market is ripping right now. I don't know. There might be something. Look at the Nasdaq. There goes the Nasdaq right there to the upside.
Energy is tanking.
Okay, so there has to be something. Let's go check out USO right now quickly. Not taking too much, but down $1. It is a nice move upside right there in the broader market. Wow, now we're in the money. $5 right now on Tesla as that's going bump in the night. Wow, Tesla going upside. We get filled on our orders there. Here we go. Maybe there's news on something geopolitical.
I mean, not really. I'll let you guys know what headline I am seeing. I suspect we'll probably get a more salient headline in the next couple of minutes. But Kuwait coming out here basically saying that there has been the fall of 4 Iranian missiles outside the threat area, rocket shrapnel causing power lines to go out of service. So some comments from Kuwait. They said that they did detect 17 hostile ballistic missiles in their airspace and destroyed 13 of them over the past 24 hours. So again, 4 of them did fall. That's coming from Kuwait. I'm not seeing anything else here. Spike and drop. If there is anything more significant, I'll let you know. I'm not seeing any headlines yet.
I mean, I was sitting there at 80, at 86 20s there, right at the high, right? And so it runs me over. Then I put out another order to get out, then another one to get out right there as well. So just taking advantage of these algo spikes. Like Neil and I obviously panic and we go right away to oil. We go right away, to the market just to see what's going on because, we do have ear to the ground, and thanks to Dara for bringing that up, but there was really nothing going on. There is something going on, but we'll wait to see if there is a major story attached with this. But there goes the spike in volume and the spike in many stocks right back there to the upside, including what I think is going to be a long. I need to take it at some point, but Palantir right now, I don't know. It's making me nervous, but I do like the long there in PLTR.
Yeah, let's go back to it there. There's another, it's a truth, I think.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there is a truth, but it's also a truth from like 6-7 minutes ago, and he's just reposting somebody else's comment. So if I can navigate, sorry, Rob, towards that, there's a lot of ads on Truth Social. Here is the post. So President Trump posting just a repost from an individual named Sharif, not Sharif, saying that, quote, Pakistan welcomes and fully supports efforts to pursue dialogue to end the all-caps war in the Middle East in the interest of peace and stability in the region and beyond. So basically, President Trump reposting this post from like now an hour and a half ago on X, suggesting that Pakistan willing to work to end the conflict in Iran. Now, this actually backs up reports that we heard yesterday, now about 24 hours ago, suggesting that President Trump's team would be willing to meet in Pakistan to come to an end to this conflict. Again, Pakistan apparently welcoming and fully supporting peace. This is, once again, as I said, a post from a couple minutes ago, 10:46 a.m. So now it's like 10:55. Back to you.
You can see there quite clearly that President Trump is also reading Sharif's morning note right there. So
which is very key.
You could be part of all of
Sharif.
that with us there as well. So definitely, guys, go check that out. Shout out to President Trump.
Pretty much
Sharif.
whatever you were looking at right there.
You got to, you got to subscribe. Become a member, man. You get Sharif's morning note as well. Just all kidding aside, right there. But yeah, that's why. you know, you got to take advantage of those plays, right? I mean, we did it again right there on Tesla, but we need to wait. I was actually thinking about fading Palantir on that kind of a move, right up into the 50-period moving average. But when this market starts to get really good feels about it, it's just so hard to stop the momentum to the upside, because you are now like one truth away, one little note away about something, and then the next thing you know and you see, this is what can easily happen. Did anything happen to Apple there? Like, I'm trying to think about, you know, Apple's been on a nice move higher all day, actually, sort of bucking that trend of the Microsofts of the world. And IGV, again, that's been the story today, really getting hit down there to the downside, the software names. But there's a nice, really great bottom. I mean, this is the kind of structure that I'm actually looking for right there. Good little wick bottom take right there. And I know Joe at one point set up sort of a scanner that was looking for some of these wicks, but that right there, it's not very aggressive of a wick. Yeah, that was a great hold down there at 372. There for Microsoft, right back up to the upside. And that's probably also IGV, the software. We talked about how Palantir is somehow the #1 holding there. Oh boy, 386.75. There it is. There's $5 on Tesla. So nice move there on Tesla as we get the high of the day again. So booyaka, nice move higher right there. So hopefully all good on this one. For Tesla as it just keeps on going. And we tweeted this out a while ago. The trade that we lost on early by going long and got stopped out, we actually wind up putting it back in our pocket and taking it just a little bit longer right now. So there goes Tesla. The trade that's been working out for me all morning. I've only made 2 trades, man, Tesla and Palantir today. And it's been a good one. So just wish that Palantir, we were able to have thought about going short on that break. But I like the long, and you know, too bad. We'll have to think about how we could switch up our mind and get long instead of short, get short instead of long there. But SPY is green.
Well, the
almost.
Nasdaq, the SPY, both of them turned. Obviously, that headline, whatever you were looking at in that moment, if it was energy, obviously it would have been short, and literally anything else would have been a long. I happened to be looking at SoFi because of that 16.5 bottom. It broke the trend on that candle, which did mean there wasn't a ton of liquidity. That's why I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Because it was breaking the trend line and there was no liquidity to be able to get in, but I was able to get something. So we'll look for this to retrace back into the highs. I don't know what's going to be able to, like, if this is like the new reality that we're setting in for the afternoon, or I guess it's lunchtime first, then here's the cues. Line it up from when we started dropping in the morning, and you'll get a somewhat trend coming back into VWAP. So continuation long. I like SoFi here. I'll probably look to see if 70,000, which we're not holding on Bitcoin, can come again. But you gotta be able to hold on to this dip. Confirm the higher lows on this little bit of a pullback after the news. That's going to be very, very key here for the rest of the session. This is not as strong as yesterday's Trump truth, I don't think, for the market. It doesn't make sense that it's as moving, but for now it's going to give you that reversal, and we got the trend back into the upside. So as long as that holds, I'm going to try buying the dips in SoFi because it held the level that we like, and then we'll continue to go. That I would imagine. Oh, there it is. That Robin Energy.
Yeah, 220 now.
And still going. Almost 100% now for Robin Energy. Hey, they like their stock at $3, and it's now at $2. So we'll see. Look, this chart literally speaks for itself, and I think like the headline was marginal. It's really just more about like the energy trade, and USO just spiked another $1, so it actually is coming all the way back. USO. Here, I'll show you. That's one of the, as long as if USO takes that news and breaks out the top, these like a runner like RBNE is probably going to burn some shorts. I would imagine on that headline, there were probably some short sellers that are like, ooh, I can short this because it's just following the energy trade. If that reverses, this thing can drop 50% or so. Well, new fresh highs. I think it just probably squeezed a whole new set of short sellers on this Robin Energy?
Yeah, RBNE. Yeah,
Robin
exactly.
Energy.
I just want to say we're out of here in a minute. Oh, there it is, man. We just got a good price there on Tesla, by the way. 387 right now on Tesla. That just broke higher. I just want to say, well, I'll leave you right now, but silver is at my price. 63.50 to 64 short. So that was a level that we had written down here on the sticky note today. So it's kind of right there. And I only brought this to your attention. There's 63.50. It's been the high right there. So we actually wicked it in that surprise move higher there, and then it went all the way back down into 63. So you gave you 50 cents right there. So something to take consideration on. There it is, 387. So there's the price. We already got that. We talked about that. So, all right, man, it's 11:01 right now. Thanks for staying with us right now. We got, yesterday was chicken parmesan, today chicken biryani. Okay, good show.
And a fire alarm.
And a fire alarm. So good luck with that. We've got Sharif and Joe. Get ready for some fun on the midday show. We'll see you guys back at 2 p.m. and Neil, see you at 12 with the lesson of the day. Ciao till now. Hi, Russell.